peacemakers, the Muslims, the world. We're gonna get started here. Welcome to Branch Temple number 24 of the Moorish Temple of America. We are Branch Temple of the Moorish Temple of America. We're teaching our people the nationality and divine truth. Hope y'all are enjoying y'all Friday, y'all holy day. We're gonna share the room and get this information out to the people that need it. First thing first, I want to give honors to the divine creator, almighty nature. I want to give honors to the prophet Lawiy. I want to give honors to the prophet original staff. I want to give honors to all the leaders that came after the prophets, such as Elijah Muhammad, the messenger, the master teacher, Dr. H.I.M, C.M. Bey, H.I.M Bey, and many, many others that came. I want to give honors to all those that will be here in participation tonight, because you can be anywhere in the world, but you will be here with me. Or you'll be listening to the replays or tuning in to us live from YouTube. It'll be live for you, but it'll be a recording, of course. So I'll do one more share, and we're going to get started for tonight. I hope you all are enjoying y'all holy day. All right. Let's go ahead and get it started. Do one last share. Get it rocking and rolling. All right. Happy holy day. We'll get started in a second. All right. True peace. So, first thing first, we're going to jump into our divine supplication for tonight. Get us started. Open us up. As y'all know, we begin our prayers and thinking by using the all. Right. O Heavenly One, the Most High, who is sustainer of all the worlds, we do accept the duty you have lain on us to clean up the filth made by the West and its non-submitting fools. O my sustainer, we beseech you to keep your hand over us to control the strings of the courses of our lives. Our sustainer, and if we do wrong, please show thy divine blessings and forgiveness on us. You are the only one that can raise us true followers of the news bearers, and in thy name, we carry on. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into our daily affirmations. Get started. And these affirmations is something you should be reading with your family, as I mentioned here every week. 19 affirmations that we go over, called What We Accept as Fact. The daily affirmation of loyalty of the children of the Elohim. And as it states, we accept as fact the eternal laws of nature as revealed through science, past events, logic, and common sense, revealed as right knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We accept as fact the highest laws of nature is the cooperation and harmony of all living things. We accept as fact our way of life as a means to the best end. We accept as fact that loyalty is the greatest of all honors and treason is the worst of all crimes. We accept as fact that loyalty is the greatest of all. We accept this fact that what is good for the Holy Tabernacle is the highest virtue, and what is bad for the Holy Tabernacle is the ultimate evil. We accept this fact that the Holy Tabernacle is the finest and noblest organization for all humanity, created by circumstances, and the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek is the noblest of fraternities on and above this planet. We accept this fact that creativity, love, and cooperation are the essence of success. We accept this fact that truth and facts are always and has always been the originator and creator of all success. We accept this fact that all worthwhile cultures and civilizations came about from the ancient Sumerians and Kamite Egyptians and the Anunnaki or Elohims from the heavens, without which there would be none. We accept this fact that for the Holy Tabernacle to survive, expand, and advance, we need first of all a revolution of values and thoughts, which must start within each person by being truthful with themselves and about themselves. Therefore, we completely and categorically reject all myths, fictions, religions, and lies that have not been proven. That would include your heavens, your hells, your hellfire and brimstones, your horn and pitchfork devils, your winged angels, and your old man God character sitting on a throne up there somewhere. We deal strictly with facts. If you can't if you can't prove it, we don't want to hear it. That doesn't mean we won't listen to you. Just don't expect us to accept your beliefs by virtue of a title such as Reverend, Pastor, Deacon, Imam, Sheik, Rabbi, Minister, Theologian, etc. That is your sensationalism, and we deal with just the facts. We accept this fact that the only true revolution is a war of good against evil, right against wrong, fairness against unfairness, loyalty against disloyalty, sincerity against insincerity, honesty against dishonesty. And this wars fought within each person among the agreeable and disagreeable Elohims that make up your willpower. We accept this fact that the unity of our community and its success will only happen with cooperation with all involved. We accept this fact, the total unification of all humanity on the basis of truth. That is, accepting people and races for who and what they are, respecting their culture, their languages, and their beliefs, and expect the same. We accept this fact that the human race's biological and cultural heritage is now under attack by our own morals, our self-righteousness, our desire to control industry, and these things attack the very existence of humanity. We accept this fact that males as well as females are equal in all things and should be dealt with as partners in all matters. We accept this fact that no one race of people is better than the other. In fact, no one wins the race in racism. We accept this fact that communication between different people is the cure to the ignorance that breeds the disease hate. We accept this fact that a good and well-rounded education could prevent most of the ignorance that plagues the world. We accept this fact that the all is just that, the all. You can't take from the all, you can't add to the all. We are all within the all is one. That is our concept of what you call a deity. To the fulfillment of these facts, we children of the Elohim forever pledge our lives, our sacred honor, and our spiritual zeal. True peace, true peace. All right, y'all, so let's go ahead and jump into our prayers and divine constitution and bylaws of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And we're going to get it started in here for today. All right. So y'all know how I go, facing the east, feet at a 45-degree angle. 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Sorry about that pause, y'all. So we're going to jump right into the divine constitution and bylaws. And as it states, Act 1, the Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings, are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God alone. For that cause Friday is the holy day for all Muslims and peace for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, true peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, color folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. All right, y'all, so we're going to get it started for today with our weekly reading. We're going to jump into the final closing of our economics series, touching on bartering, negotiations, and smart contracts, and open it up for our next series, which we're going to actually get started with the clear vision scrolls and go into detail about these clear vision scrolls and clear up some of the things that have been stated during these times with the controversies that have taken place in the past 2 decades, over the past 20 years, concerning those of the right knowledge, right wisdom, for the right understanding, and the sound wisdom, or as we call it, sound right wisdom, doctrine of Nuwabu, or Nebuwa. So we're going to get into some real pertinent things that you may have to come back, play this recording for those that do not know, do not understand, do not understand, do not understand, and get this message to them. Or use this message as your shield and sword. So with that, we're going to jump into this week's weekly reading and get it started. So since it's just me here, we don't have any guest speakers for tonight that'll be joining us. So we're going to get started here. It seems like every Friday they got some reason why the sirens just go off in the background. Nonetheless, we're going to open up with the Holy Qur'an, Circle 7, Chapter 25. Called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, which I like to call the precursor for all and everything that we do as a people. And it reads, Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother had given you suck. That the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. So as I say, this is the precursor for everything that we do. That holy covenant of the Asiatic nation. So let's go ahead and jump right into chapter 47 and chapter 48. So chapter 47 reads, or it's called Egypt, the capital empire of the dominion of Africa. And it reads, the inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family was second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa. The dividing of the land between the father and the son. The dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest, was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab had received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa. They were the founders and all the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sovereign from the land of Canaan seeking new homes. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast and southwest Africa across Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake which caused the Great Atlantic Ocean. The river Nile was dredged and made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with the surrounding kingdoms. Also, the Niger River was dredged by the great pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days for trade, and it extends eastward from the river Nile, westward across the Great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were in awe of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. There's no one who was able to change man from the descendant nature of his forefathers, unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator Allah himself. These holy and divine laws are from the prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. These laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meeting and guide it according to the principles of love, true peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, true peace, freedom, and justice, and to create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. I, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and awful day that is sure to come. The time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess its own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery, due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America, who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father, and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. So we lost our economic power, just to get it started, get this week's lecture and sermons, a little peek at the window. We lost that economic power by chasing other people's culture, ethnicities. These are one of the things that is going to be mentioned also in the Clear Vision Scroll Part 2, which I'm working on also at the same time as the Book of Samuel as well. So let's go ahead and jump into chapter 48, called The End of Time and the Fulfilling of the Prophecies. I'm going to jump into this one next. True Peace, Jonathan, I see you. I'm going to bring you up. I don't know if you see the invite. But we're going to get into chapter 48 here next. right, so it reads, the last prophet in these days is Noble Joe Ali, who was prepared divinely in due time by Allah to redeem man from their sinful ways, and to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus in those days, to warn and stir up the nation and prepare them to receive the divine creed, which is to be taught by Jesus. In these modern days, there came a forerunner of Jesus who was divinely prepared by the great God Allah, and his name is Marcus Garvey, who did teach and warn the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet, who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam, and his name is Noble Drew Ali, who was prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the old-time religion and the everlasting gospel to the sons of men, that every nation shall and must worship under their own vine and fig tree, and return to their own and be one with their Father God Allah. The Moorish Temple of America is a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization. Any subordinate temple that desires to receive a charter, the Prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc., that the world may hear and know the truth, that among the descendants of Africa, there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of man under love, true peace, freedom, and justice. We as a clean and pure nation descended from the inhabitants of Africa do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, need to serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation, while we, the Moorish Americans, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. The covenant of the great God Allah, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be longer upon the earth land, which the Lord thy God Allah had given thee. Come, all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you're not Negroes. Learn of your forefathers' ancient and divine creed that you will learn to love instead of hate. We're trying to uplift fallen humanity. Come and link yourself with the family of nations. We honor all true and divine prophets. All right, y'all, so we're going to get started for this week's lectures and sermon. I don't know if you can see the invite, but I'm sending it. I need you to help me out with moderation here.
Will
True
do.
peace. Happy holiday, bro.
Happy holiday.
All right, so we back in action. Took a break, as I mentioned last week. Kind of broke down, but as I stated last week, we are on our way to monetization, and we got some more things coming. Work back. So while we do that, I'm gonna go ahead and pin the link to the last book that's been published. Hopefully, share the link. For some reason, and they don't accept Barnes and Noble. Mysterious. Okay, still don't accept. Put Barnes and Noble in chat. That we get it. Barnes and Noble, get them copies. That work. All right, so I pinned the latest book up, Ancient Newly History. Put Barnes and Noble there. Put it in the chat. I wonder if that's because W. No, that's right. All right, so let's go ahead and get started for this week. Like I said, we're gonna touch on the final piece of economic theory to discussing and actually reading the Cliff Vision Scroll and going into depth about why the Cliff Vision Scroll drafted, why I decided to draft and what led to me drafting that particular scroll, which was inspiration and guidance from ancestors, to let it be known and clear up misunderstandings that have taken place over the years about the doctrine of Nuwabu, or in Arabic, Nebuwa. So, as I just stated a second ago about us not sticking to our own vine and fig tree, this is a part of the economic downfall that we have experienced as indigenous people over time. And I was in a discussion over the past 2 days that was about who built America. Was it black people? Was it immigrants? etc. And of course, there was a lot of information and a history lesson that was given about who developed America and the labor that went into it. So, of course, we had to go, down history and memory lane about a lot of things, because it wasn't so much of someone trying to insert their opinion about the recollection of history that was being conveyed, but more so just disingenuous questions that kept coming up nonetheless. But it really had me thinking, especially with the fact that though we could mention as indigenous people, melanated people, black people, Moorish people, etc., that we are the developers of America and many other countries for that matter. But this goes back to the conversation that I've been opening up for us to have here over these past couple weeks about economics, because if we can't have a list that we can scroll down and go down the list of about those who made economic contributions to economics and through schools of economics, schools of thought of economics, this is the reason why we're having that issue. Though we understand that there was a lot of issues far as and concerning kidnap, bondage, slavery, etc. This is the reason why. And it was mentioned in the discussion that we are great preservers of our record history. But it's about time that we have our own school of thought and we bring those records, we bring those people that have went unmentioned throughout time, throughout history, and do it with some decorum, of course, without going back and forth about coddling other ethnicities, etc., other arguments that create deterrent from the actual point of the topic at hand. So to really top off this economic series, I want to discuss why today, in today's time, negotiations, negotiable instruments, and things of that nature, which actually do come from indigenous peoples. Bartering was an ancient way of doing things for us. But we also, as time moved on, we also created the concept of negotiation and negotiable instruments. Negotiable instruments was not created just in these modern days and time. These things go back ancient to ancient time immemorial. Also, getting into a little bit of the whole smart contract thing, which we did touch on just a bit over the series, but we really want to go in today. And the purpose for understanding negotiable instruments, besides just bringing back bartering and trade. Today, this is what a negotiable instrument is. Today, we know that the Federal Reserve, which is technically an independent company, is who all of these funds are owed to by the U.S. Treasury, who prints the cash and the banknote. So even though we can get into the modern money mechanics of things, which is something you all should, if you haven't already, look into, specifically the official modern money mechanics that came out in the 30s from Chicago. That way you all have some insight. But we'll probably actually put a link to that in the chat here. I'll do that now. So that way you all have some insight information. So it was done by the Federal Reserve Board of Chicago in the 1940s. So I'll put the link to the PDF here, chat, where y'all get access to that. All right. So understanding that yes, bartering and trading is something that we as indigenous people are the progenitors of. Correct. That is 100% correct. But we're also, not to forget, that we're also the progenitors of negotiable instruments and modern economics as it is being done today. So that means having an understanding of promissory notes, bank notes, bills of exchange, etc. But today, there's a lot of misunderstanding of what goes into a negotiable instrument, which creates an negotiable instrument. These instruments could be simple, they can be complex, they can be a draft, they can be a check, different type of negotiable instrument. So this is where checking into your uniform commercial code, things like that, so you can understand a negotiable instrument. So you're going to have to dive into the Uniform Commercial Code, which I'm going to leave a link for you all to kind of get an overview of here. So that way you all brush up on understanding is have ready. And a lot of people, they deal with negotiable instruments regularly. They already know what these instruments are. But what they do not know is the power behind creating an instrument, issuing an instrument, and the control that the instrument gives you. Because the Federal Reserve technically buys these instruments. They buy these instruments and then they print up the funds based on these instruments. They print up the debt notes that at this point are technically backed by nothing, which is more economics that we need to get into. We need to understand M1, M2, M3, macroeconomics, microeconomics. All of these things have developed from the Austrian and the Keynesian form of economics and school of thought. So this is why, like I say, for us, having our own school of thought, the Asarian school of economics, Asarian philosophy, economic philosophy, why it's prevalent, why it's should be mandatory for us as a people to get into, to develop, to help push what is being developed along. Those are some of the books that we're going to be coming out with next, because we have a lot of religious books, we have a lot of philosophical books, we have a lot of spiritual books, but we don't have what actually takes the spirituality, the culture, the religion, and put it into physical and viable things for us as a community to operate with. And that's economics. Economics is the measurements behind the actual community's ethics, morals, principles. As we touch on in what we accept as fact. These things is what's causing us to not just destroy the earth, but destroy ourselves. Those are one thing that we accept as fact. That's in our daily affirmation. So we gotta be on point about understanding things. True peace.
True peace, yeah. This is like along the lines of what's been kind of been in my mind for the last few days or so, involving organizing how this trust, the family-based World Temple Trust, can be viable as a transitionary implementation and use of the technologies. And I think the challenge is that there's been a lot of apps and new things coming into play, and people expect that the developers are going to create some app to fix things, when in reality it's as simple as how people use the different tools that are coming into play. And that's what I feel like this whole organization is, what you've been talking about and everything is kind of bringing together in a mental sphere first, so that it can actually unfold in the right light in the physical. And I was just thinking about like a lot of the port towns and North Carolina. I grew up in North Carolina, and once you start heading towards Wilmington, there's a lot of open not marsh, but just like a lot of lush trees, green. It's kind of like a lot of land that's not really cut out for farming, but it's kind of there that could be used. A lot of homes that are from the 80s that are kind of starting to fall apart, and like all that land could be repurposed. And in that, you can have your hemp renaissance, to where you're not dealing with like a megalomaniac who is a corporate, owner of a plant, but you're actually opening it up to people, and then from there you get your foundations, and just throwing that into the noosphere here. True peace. Thank you.
True peace, true peace. Definitely appreciate that contribution. But that's what's needed. That's what's needed 1,000,000,000,000%. And that's exactly what what the goal is. First, we understand that wherever the mind goes, the body follows. So if we build it first, we build the construct, the concept, and actually lay out the physical construction, not just of the ideal, but of the premise and what we see in our mind's eye, and then we bring it down. This can be done the proper way, and as I said many times, without much backlash, without all the same issues and strife that we have been going through as a people. This is the reason for these sacrifices for our people. So why not sacrifice something so simple? The hard sacrificing has already been done. Now you have a lot of things that's going on today, especially today, as far as these past couple of weeks, with the brawl that happened in Alabama, things like that. These are the signs of the times that are consistently showing up for the people. There was a lot of signs for people 30 years ago to be prepared for the things that are happening today. But having that participation, having that conversation, having that dialogue for economics, opening it up while everybody else is talking about the things that they're talking about, we're here actually having that conversation about your DNA explosions and those advancements that you need to have, that actual pertaining information that you need to have. So negotiable instruments, negotiating, that requires communication to negotiate. It's similar to bartering. It's similar to bartering, but it's about coming to an agreement through a financial instrument, a financial medium. So this is where you're creating formulas, but you have something different than just bartering, something completely different than just bartering. When you're negotiating, that's a dialogue between two or more parties, two more people. Like I said, to reach that agreement. So bartering is kind of auction based, what they call auction style today. So the difference with negotiations is you're actually creating this agreement for some end goal, but you're using an actual negotiable instrument to do such, to describe that goal and the terms of that goal. So you have a discussion phase, you have the clarification phase of that discussion, you have the outcome of that discussion, and then you have that final documented agreement. So negotiation requires you to build relationship, come up with quality solutions, be able to solve problems, and create value. This is totally different than bartering. Totally different than bartering. So we're gonna get into that, and break down why those two different and what really sets them apart. Because that is important to know. Because it's often asked if negotiating a form of bartering, is it considered bartering? And we have to understand that it's not. Also, it's not a way for you to dodge paying taxes or anything like that. Because that's one of the things that often comes up as well. Tax jump well. So when you're bartering, there's bargaining, not negotiation. You're bargaining. Kind of like auction style, like I mentioned. But you're bargaining between two parties. And that is to establish the worth of the actual goods or services that you're trying to trade or exchange. So when you're using negotiable instruments, there's no bargain because there's a medium, like I mentioned, that goes to the recipient party, and you're paying based on the actual medium of exchange and the value of that medium of exchange according to the market value of whatever it is at the current time. So bartering is saying, well, I got 4 apples, I'll give you 3 apples if you give me 6 oranges. That's bargaining. Versus saying, well, I have these 3 apples, I'll sell them to you at the value of what they're worth, and you sell me 6 oranges at the value of what they're worth on the market price. And that becomes a trade, and that becomes an exchange utilizing negotiable instrument. So this is the opposite of what is being referred to when it comes to bargaining versus negotiation. And negotiation, you're not bargaining the value of the service or the goods, you're actually trying to come to a end goal formula, as we went through those outliers earlier. As far as the discussion, you go through the clarity of that discussion, and the discussion is about, whatever it's about, as far as two parties, two counterparties coming together, whether it's a trade, whether it's a company purchase, or you're merging together, or you're investing in something together, things like that. And you're coming together utilizing the medium of exchange. In America, that would be the dollar. So, for example, if you want to purchase someone's house, you could actually use a promissory note. Say, well, hey, let me purchase your house. I'll give you this negotiable instrument that says I'll pay you this rate, this amount, per this, per that, with the medium of exchange of the nation, community, or the tribe, etc. And that instrument will represent value because it's being held to the agreement that you decide to come together on. So this is much different than bartering. And like I said, negotiating with instruments has become the more norm than bargaining for services or goods, which, let's say you're bargaining, or you're in a bargaining discussion about your services. Now you're bargaining the value of your services. With negotiating, there's no choice but to keep your services and the value of your services at market rate. And if you decide to give a discount versus a bargain rate, that's up to you solely. But you're not being bargained and negotiated with about the discount rate or the bargain that you want to give. That is solely 100% in your control. But if you're bargaining about that, it's not necessarily 100% in your control. It's based on the what the actual customer is looking to get far as in value. So this is why I say, far as us understanding negotiable instruments and being up to date about why negotiable instruments is more of a modern structure, and understanding why we have advanced from bartering to negotiable instruments, and understand that us indigenous peoples did participate in that transition. Bartering, though it might account to us as primitive people, indigenous peoples, in the original ways of things, negotiation and negotiable instruments also came out of that so-called primitive mindset and indigenous mindset and way of thinking. So we have to keep that in mind and truly understand that. And that leads us into our smart contract conversation, crypto conversation, that will be closing out this economic series with, because we touched on the school of thought. You guys know what we're doing with new economic order, the Nucratic economic order, nature's economic order, however you want to look at that, and the direction that we're going in as a Nucratic based people. But we have to put our bottom dollar into that value. We have to put our value into, or equity into that value. Equity must be seen. So if we are to be seen for the foundational work, things that we're developing through the mind's eye of what we're developing, then equity must be there. There's different types of equity: sweat equity, interest equity, all types of equity that must be put into the work that we're doing. So when it comes to investing as a people, investing as a community, we know the main thing that we need to invest in as a community, as a people. Why we're investing in that? What is the purpose behind that? We read this in scripture before. The other scriptures that are based on economic as well. Like I said, we'll get into that too. So we went over a lot of them that are in the script. But like I say, we know what we're doing this for. We have our intent. We have our purpose. But understanding things like Proverbs 21:20, where it says, precious treasure and oil are in a wise man's dwelling, but a foolish man devours it. So understanding the responsibility that come with having economic school of thought, having a end goal at hand that will be working these projects, working our economic system through smart contract instruments, but the contracts themselves still have to be done. So therefore the agreements, the negotiations, those things have to still be done. Monetizing on YouTube, that's just one way. Making sure we got a guaranteed way, but it's going to take the help of the people who put their faith, which is biblical equity, into what we're doing, or ethereal equity, however you want to look at that. Because one thing that does separate us from most of these gurus on YouTube or speakers about ancient history, they most definitely didn't have someone that went in to these doctrines and translated them for the layman of your community, for the layman of your people to understand, from the Bible, or what they would call the Torah, and the Tiflim to the Injiyl, to the Qur'aan, and on further back with the Book of the Dead from ancient Egypt, other prominent books from the Sumerians, and actually made this information understandable to the layman, man and woman. The prophet giving us a cantonized version of the Holy Quran for Americans, or giving us our own Quran for Americans. Proverbs 3:9 says, honor the Lord with your wealth and with the first fruit of all your produce. Then your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will be bursting with wine. So when we learn to store up equity, store up funds, we have a fund. We have a developing family office. We have our end goals. We know what we want to do. You have the opportunity to contact me, reach me outside Clubhouse and get involved off, outside of YouTube. Send me a message and get involved. But for those that are looking to take that leadership, bro, you got to show up where the work is being done. And then be innovative, be creative. Take the foundational things that have already been done and take them to a whole nother level. There's a lot of work that has went into the things that we've done over the years for this new nature's economic order project, or the new ethereal order project. Our adepts have an actual spiritual order, many of them. One that's developing now as we speak, that is the continuation of our new logical thinking, our cultural science, Nebuwa, what is affectionately referred to as Nuwabu or Nuwapu. And that leads me to opening up the conversation about the clear vision scroll and getting into that. So understand, if we don't take care of each other, as it says in Timothy 5:8, anyone that does not provide for his relatives, especially for members of his household, is denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. So one key thing is, we know in the death cycle of nature, if we're looking at things neurologically, that the cycle of religion is based on faith, hope, and belief in the death cycle of nature. So the things that people expect to be things that are dead, non-existent, don't make sense. But if you can balance the two by putting your faith in fate, and your faith in your belief and your hopes and things of the true light and knowledge of the true light, the wisdom of the true light, then there's a special thing that happens. There's a magnetic and special thing that happens between, a magical thing at that happens, what they would call miracles, that happens between those faiths, beliefs, and hopes in the true light, versus having faith, belief, and hope that end up turning into blind faith, false beliefs, fake beliefs, and false hopes, and things that don't exist, won't exist, and they're just of the imagination and not reality. So getting into this clear vision scroll, we have to understand that there was a lot of issues between those who were concerned about Nuwabu before the master teacher and other information that the master teacher went into, but as been stated many times, even by the master teacher himself, that he couldn't get into simply because the people wasn't ready for it. And not in the same way that the government would say people are not ready for the truth, or aliens and UFOs and things like that, but based on the behaviors of the people themselves, being more concerned about religious beliefs than the things that we're actually having a discussion today. And even today, the audience is short-lived. At least until the algorithm pushes and more people are coming in to have that conversation in our cultural communities about investing, having fun, having treasure, doing our own management, bookkeeping, things of that nature. Because these things have been on the short end of the stick when it comes to having these discussions and really having these discussions about Austrian economics, Keynesian economics, and then moving forward and having our own school of economics, but actually laying down the groundwork for these things, putting down actual documentation that can be looked into for these things. So we're gonna jump into the vision scroll. Because there's been a lot of pushback to say that the master teacher is not who he say he is, or he didn't do this and that and the third. But clearly, this is coming from those that are disgruntled in some kind of way, truly, whether they accept that or not, or looking for the leader to slip up so they can point it out, and we know what that's based on, the ego of leadership. One thing they cannot default on is that the fact that even if they try to attest that the work of the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York L, is of someone else, they cannot attest to say that the master teacher did not expound in the body of work, in the description, in the format, in the teaching, in the knowledge of what we affectionately refer to as the doctrine of sound right wisdom, the true light, natural philosophy that we call noon philosophy. The reason why we established the Nucratic Society, the Noon Society. So the clear vision scroll, El Safu Kazun Katu, Li El Sanu Atni Wa Kahari, meaning the clear vision tablet or scroll for the year 2020 and beyond. So I wrote this before the year 2020. Timestamp is there, date and the record is there. Everything is there for you to see. So this scroll is to be used as a remembrance, as a focus point for clarity in the provision, in people's provision. Coming to you from the Novus Intellectus Ordre, the new Ethiopian order, or nature's Ethiopian order, nature's ethereal order. Us Aksumat, as we read in the Holy Quran Circle 7. That is the true and divine name of Africa, Aksum. We are the Aksumat. So it opens up saying at one time, all Africa and the nearby surrounding lands before the parting of Africa from Asia and other territories were called Ethiopia or Ether-Utopia from Genesis 2:13. Cush, called Kish in pre-Bible time, is now El Habasha, and the Atlantic Ocean was called the Ethiopian Ocean. So this is prevalent knowledge when it comes into who's doing the work and work and effort, sweat equity has been put into us having the clarity that we need to have going into this project, the Noose project, the Noon project. And why we call it this. So this scroll is dedicated and for all devotees, cosmosians, pitchnovians, novites who are traveling the path, who are all a part of the all, seeking clarity on their inherited spiritual gifts. Peace in the Lamb is truly wonderful. Islam. So these are the opening pages of the Clear Vision scroll that I'm reading. I'm gonna put the link to the Clear Vision scroll in the chat. That way, those that don't have a copy get a copy. We continue into scroll. All right, so the link is pinned at the top of the room. That way you guys click on it and get your copy of the Clear Vision scroll. All right, so let's jump into it. Listen to reason. Read this scroll. Please read this scroll. Please don't reject, don't deny, don't slander. For it is nourishment for the soul, for the spirit and soul. The hourglass is empty. The time of reaping is now. We are the 144,000. All who are familiar with H.I.M, the Holy Tabernacle Ministries, the new Zion that came out of heaven to redeem the lost soul and replace the Savior that was removed, the savor that was removed from the salt. The Warner, Malachi L, 360, 720 degrees, sent by the Most High. I call all my kinfolk, Pitch Novas, Nuwabians, Wapians, Wu Nuwapians, Ansarullah community, Ansar Pure Sufi, Nubian Hebrew Israelite, Circle 7, gods and goddesses of the earth, Moors of any Moorish science temple, Nation of Islam, Hebrew Israelites, Rastafarian, Muslim, Christian, Akarashian, Yoruba, Black Panthers, Crip, Blood, People and Folk Nation, Latin King, MS-13, Temple of Hip Hop, House of Consciousness, New Covenant, People of the Noon Project, all native and indigenous tribes, Masons, atheists, Taoists, Buddhists, Egyptologists, Anunnaki, Elohim, Neturu, Nebat, Rasanat, the Sejatat, and the Aksumite. I call to accept this truth as bestowed upon me by the masters who guide my pen. Of myself, I could not have done the work. Come sip with me. I recommend people to show their acceptance by following the covenant of the Most High. I knew. Listen to reason. The word clarity in Webster's New World College Dictionary means clear. The quality of our condition of being clear, cleanness. And the word clear in the Webster's New World College Dictionary means clear, sounding, hence, bright, free from clouds or mist, bright or light, clear day, free from cloudiness, muddiness, transparent or pure, not turbid. To explain, to make orderly, to cure or free from enclosing or limiting obstruction. Also, the definition of the word vision in the Webster's New World College Dictionary meaning to view, see, the act or power of seeing with the eye, sense of sight, something seen by other than normal sight, something perceived in a dream, trance, or supernaturally received as to a prophet. The experience of having such a perception or revelation, a mental image, especially in imaginative contemplation, to have visions of power, the ability to perceive something not actually visible. So through mental acuteness or keen foresight, a force, a power of imagination. Listen to reason. We have to learn to respect one another to the fullest extent, which is divine love, Hadus Ashub, and manifestation. Respect, meaning or Re, the sun deity, who rises over and over again, and the word specter, as in viewing or seeing something, which means if one is to show and give proper respect, then one is to look at whatever it is over and over again, regaining insight and new provisions or perspectives each time conditions are the same. Listen to reason. New Ethiopian Order, or Neo, will revise each and every degree of Nuwabu and spiritual Noon, or Nupu, by our new unified temple. The definition of the word vise, a French word in the Webster's New College Dictionary, is to view or inspect, see, or vision. So it is up to us of the new unified temple, the world temple, to reissue this information, start to put it out. The world temple of Paras. So now it's a global obligation, not just an Egyptian obligation. It's an Ethiopian obligation. And at one point in time, the whole world was called Ethiopia. The whole world was surrounded by the Ethiopian Ocean. All right, so we're going to get into this opening affirmation that states, I am in the love of the all, and all love is in me. I am a part of the all, and the all is a part of me. I am one with the all, and the all is one with me. I can succeed as a part of the all and fail as an individual. I can be all that I wish in the all as long as my wish is to stay in the all. I am never alone. The all is, I am. The all can, I can. The all does, I do. So let's start with the opening question here. So his first question is, why was the pituitary gland removed? The answer is, the pituitary gland was removed because Adam, being from the disagreeable tribe called Kuthites, disagreed with how the Elohim decision for their son Set to be in the image and likeness of the Elohim, or the deity, as stated in Genesis 4:23, a son, and called his name Set. For God said, she has appointed me. For God said, he has appointed me another seed. Genesis 4:26. They put Zakar, or Adam, Nekeba, Cain, the Buddha, Abel, and Aquilima to be Enocyte, meaning humans, or mortals, meaning just mortals. That's what the name Enocyte or Enosh means, a mortal or physical person. In Aramic Hebrew, the same as Nas in Ashuric, Suritic, Arabic, meaning people or mankind. Adam was upset because the incident with Cain slaying Abel in Genesis 4:8 was just an experiment to test their nature. An Enocyte, a human being, is a forgetful being, which is what happened when the pituitary gland was moved. You have to prove your sincerity before it is returned to you. Otherwise, you may misuse it. All right, so the next question is, can anyone have their pituitary gland, saying it wrong, reinserted? The answer is no. Only those persons worthy of returning home when the Elohim, Anunnaki, Yahweh, and Neteru come reactivate for them. The Elohim Anunnaki were scientists and were testing the competency of these beings because they were trying to breed a god of all gods called Abel, or father of El. So Adam decided that his son, Set, would be in his own image and likeness in Genesis 5:3, where it states, and I quote, and Adam begat a son in his own likeness and called his name Set, and not the image and likeness of the Elohim as originally intended, from Genesis 1:26. So the next question is, when will the Elohim, Anunnaki, Yahweh's, Neteru, deity, God, angels, spirit guides return? The answer is, the ancestors whom we call your descendants will return with the new sun cycle. Sun as in Ra, Shemesh, Sol, etc., which started in 1962. Remember these dates: August 12, 2003 to June 26, 2030 AD. Watch for May 5th, 2000 AD for the alignment. When this gland is reinserted, it will not be in the hippocampus part of the brain this time, but in the lower chin, referred to as the submental area, meaning the sub or lower and mental that react with the mind. Next question. What is nulogy? The answer is, according to the World Book Dictionary or Definitionary, the word nulogy means the science of understanding, from the Greek word nous. The next question. What is a real Nubian or Ethiopian Moor? The answer is, when I use the name Nubians and or blacks, I do not mean only a woolly-haired person born in the small territory in Africa called Nubia, Ethiopia today. I mean a woolly-haired black person born anywhere in the universe. The root of the word Ethiopian is ether. In Middle English, it means upper air, or from Latin, aether, and Greek, ether. Ghost is lower, and ether is upper or the highest, where the word anu or on comes. It is about breath and breathing, kayin, with two yard, meaning too wide. as found in the Torah or Bible in the Hebrew. Genesis 2:7 as Neshama Kayim, which is ether or divine spirit, forever, and Khay, meaning life, from Genesis 2:8 as Nefesh Ke, with 1 yard, meaning 1 Y, which is for ghosts. Ether is the creative power that the sun and other true stars produce and emanate. So the next question is, who are you? The answer is, I'm an elected being here to serve all. I come with healing in my wing, referring to Malachi 4:2. As for you who fear out of reverence, I knew Aliyun El. My name by birth is Larry Simon or Solomon Shelton Jr. I realized at the age of 17, I was born a child of the Most High, from reference of Psalms 82 verse 6, called by most God, the host, Allah, Elohim, Yahweh, and even Jah. In Hebrew, my name would be Lawiy Simeon or Shalomo Bar Bethuel. In Arabic is Levi Shamun or Solomon Batala. And Levi pronounced Lawiy in Ashuric Arabic, meaning joining, and Lawiy pronounced Lewi in Hebrew, Ibri, Aramic, meaning enjoining the law, and Simeon pronounced Shamun in Hebrew, Ibri, Aramic, and Shamun in Ashuric Arabic, meaning hearing. Solomon pronounced Shalamo in Hebrew or Ibri, Aramic, and Salema. True peace. I don't know, could y'all hear me just a second ago when I was reading? I don't know how long before, if the volume really cut out or not. Can you hear me, Jonathan, over there? True peace. True peace, Abdul. I see you down there. Let me know if y'all can hear me or not. Happy holy day. I don't know what all got heard, what didn't get heard. True peace, Jonathan. Can you hear me? If you're saying something, I cannot hear you. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Hope you're enjoying your holy day, Noble. We definitely going in today. I'm reading from the Clear Vision Scroll. We closing out our economic series that we just had. So you want to check that out, you can go back to the last couple of replays. I will also be putting our YouTube link up here in a second. once we switch to our readings. That way people could follow us on YouTube too as well, because we definitely will be putting these recordings here every week on YouTube every time we do one, and we are actually caught up from where we was. But nonetheless, I see Jonathan jumped out. Hope he gonna come back in real quick. He's probably trying to chime in. I don't know if he could hear me or not. I don't know what all was heard, what was not heard, but I just went over the introduction for the Clear Vision Scroll. I'm not sure if y'all could hear that, or was it silent when you came in, Noble? Let's see what Noble Jonathan gonna say when he popped back in. All right, so while we wait on Jonathan, I'm gonna go ahead and get us started with the Clear Vision Scroll, which that is the link at the top of the room. You can grab your copy. El Safoy Kazun Katub. We're gonna kick it off. I just went over basically the introduction and the opening questions. So as y'all know, we began our acts and thinking using the All Nupu. This chapter 101, called Eyes or Seers of Ra. Begin our acts and thinking using the All. Rabat Shilhagatep. Greetings of true peace, pitch novans. Novites, meaning Nebites, Anunites, Atunites, Atumites, Amunites. You all are now tuned into Channel 9 News, the Supreme News, also called the Good News, an ultimate reality to us Karashans, or anointed ones. Nebuah, known as the Gospel, Ghost spell, or gossip to the Christians, or Antichrist, meaning Antichrist, in El's Holy Quran, chapter 80, in its original order, produced by God, or Ghost, or the Unholy Ghost, which is the three ether forces of nature. Listen to reason. The Holy Ghost, or gas, was also referred to as Geb, Ra, El. Geb meaning earth deity, Ra for sun deity, and El, the source. In the El's Injiyl, the revelations, meaning the revealing, in the gospel, now considered in its new rendering, gas pool, 9 ether or 6 ether, called the Bible, from the Greek word biblios, meaning little books, which is a little book of epistles or letters written by Peter, authored by a disagreeable spirit called Paul and Shaul in tones and Saul in Hebrew. The New Testament is compiled of 4 books of letters from Paul written by his disciples about the true Holy Scriptures called the Holy Injiyl, meaning the revelations or revealing, received by Yahshua HaMashiach or Tammuz and written by John, Yochanan or Yohana bar Zebedee or Zabedi, the divine, and the Holy Tablets. This scroll is a channeling to help clear up the muck, eye boogers, or eye sand or dust clouds amongst those on the path. Also said in tones as Ptah, Ta, or Tar, the Egyptian deity Ptah representing the earth, once known as Tiamat, meaning maiden of life. For I known one, all is. For all Kefariat, rising ones, deities awakening from their great slumber, the arrival of this new, or in you new, sun cycle started in 1967 when the positive forces of nature contacted our now-a-day pharaoh, or Aferti Amanubi Ruakpata, or Atumre, chosen by the female elements of nature, Nut, to determine and disclose to the world, especially those who are of self-kind, meaning the Oxamat, the Tamoreans, Nubat, Masikat, Hayetat, Nuwabians, all Gudamanat, Cadmonite, and Afrigat from Mother Africa. The hidden Amun, past, the changing, present, and our ruling Maluk, future. 30 years before the end, that was from 1967 or 1970 AD until the year 2000 AD, coming up from the ninth chamber with the power to defeat the devil and his ghost and his host and his G-host, meaning ghost, and his three deadly sins: mental death, spiritual death, and physical death. In the beginning were the sons El-Ray, and the sons El-Ray are with nature, Natir, and the sons El-Ray are nature, Natir, and the sons El-Ray, the true stars of the universe. El-Hag, Najim, Shil, El-Kunat are the original Natir, nature deities, and Netarat, nature deities, who grew absolute nature, as I knew, into universal order called Ma'at, also called El Natir Shil Natiru, the nature of nature. What we, your eulogists, or those who understand, and should overstand, call sun verses. Listen to reason. All planets relate in purpose, power, and function, regardless if their waters are on the surface or below. All planets have living beings, be they on the surface or beneath, whether it's animals, humans, or deity. The first Adam, Cadmon or Zakah, which means the rememberer, and Eve, Nekaba, or Hawa, meaning the mother of all living, was Apsu, one who existed from the beginning, meaning one who existed from the beginning, and Tiamat, meaning maiden of life, who were known to the ancient Egyptians or Garum Tamarans as Nu or Nun, meaning the deity of the ocean, and Nunet, meaning the female deity of the ocean, also called Kinu and Kina, the personification of living kidneys and bladders. Listen to reason. The great Enad or Anid, or reference to a grand system of 9 in your past called by universe scientists, and it still is, Pluto being a figure of someone's imagination, except as a name of the underworld deity in our solar system. The great Enad, the mighty sun, God, Super Anu, or Super Ranunu, and his 8 goddess wives, Mercury, Mumu, Venus, Lahamu, meaning Venus for Lahamu, Earth, Tiamat, Mars, Marsha, Jupiter, Saturn, and Kishar for Saturn, Uranus, Anutu for Uranus, and Neptune, which is Ea in Sumerian. Those are the Sumerian titles for the planets, and all their children. Listen to reason. The first Adam, called Atumre, one who existed since the beginning, as known to the ancient or Gadum Tamarayans, begat 1. Satuk, meaning symbolic of ignorance; 2. Nebtet, symbolic of white corpuscles; 3. Aset, symbolic of red blood cells; Asaru, symbolic of vegetation; Nut, symbolic of the sky or the mind; 6. Geb, symbolic of earth or the body; 7. Tefnut, symbolic of water and the circulatory system; 8. Shu, symbolic of air and breathing, or what they call the breath of life; and number 9, Re, coming from the primordial waters of, or Num, deity of the etherical waters; Apsu, the deity of the ocean, and his consort or confidant wife, deity Nunet, created in the image and likeness of Huhi, meaning the deity of creative will, whose triad is Hu, Hui, and Hawa, or Hua, the meaning the utterance or eternal breath. Listen to reason. Hu, pronounced in tones, Hu, or spelled Huw, meaning the deity of utterance and creative will, who created humans, or Mims, meaning deities of birth, and who men's, meaning deity of fertility, called Nun, whose confidant or consort or wives are called Nunettes, who are the self-created sunbeams of the etheric waters called quarks in quantum physics, known as Gurakat in Nuwabic. Notice the similarities in our phonetics for the Nuwabic word for cherubim, meaning those who are near, or mighty men, and the Nuwabic word quarks as the Aksumite deity Geb, endowed in the highest form of matter, non-matter from non-space and non-time, whose physical body is in a supreme state or etheric body, ranging from 7, 8, onto 9 ether, affirming triple darkness from the quarks, byaps, and zels or zeds. The root to all thinking, called brain newts or nodes in Noon science, what mundane philosophers call nous. O Sejitat or Sartafat or Rashunat or Garabat and Nabat or Rasulat, who are El Nabuyat, who are of the positive Patahite forces of absolute nature, Natir Shil Natiru. Know this: our time is now, which is made up of multiple thens, or the past, whens, futures, and nows, presents, which is encoded in your genetic matrix called the black print, or your DNA and RNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, set to go off now, but not at this exact moment, present day and time. Though one should be living in the reality of the present, which you have experienced multiple nows, was set to be reactivated when you begin to tune into and become one with this channel 9 frequency and its supreme news called Nuabu, appointed by Natir Shil Natiru. El Nabu, the messenger. Jehudimat, also called Neb Shua Tunre, is a receiver, messenger, and apostle or Rasulet of Nuabu. The oversoul, Nupu, also called Anunibu, meaning adherent of Nupu, is a liberator for all peoples of the world and some verses beyond. This Nunibu is especially concerned for his kindred by blood, genetics, and absolute nature. At one time, all of what is called today Africa or Afrikia, which means to divide, in Asia, Asu, and some surrounding parts, were all one land called Ethiopia or Kush and Kish in pre-Bible times, now called El Habasha or Pangea, and Pan, meaning Greek demon of music, also called the Pied Piper, and Gaia for deities, and also a former name of Earth to mundane scientists. The conveyor and El Yazum, initiate of True Culture Society, worshipful master of the NEMO, New Ethiopian Masonic Order, Grand Master of the Order of Nun, or On, or Anu, a devotee, or Karumi, of the Sons of Nun, spelled S-U-N, an abbreviation, Sun, a professor of Nu, or New University, and a neophyte, or Mutalib, of New Ethiopian Order, also a member of the New Unified Temple called Lawiy Bar Hadi Zodok Shamuel, an aspirant of Jadud Ethiopian Aksum Order Ma'at, has been elected, appointed, and accepted by the all and the positive forces of nature to deliver and pass along this message of correct information, rendering one knowledgeable wise, or an elite of nature. The journey we are embarking on together within all time, all space, within existence, El Ku, or Nupu, meaning the all, not encountered by Behemoth, or the human beast, and Humim, and human beings, the children of the Allahu, the solenoids, as we begin to travel up in our degrees of thinking and knowledge, which comes from Els, Kalum, which comes from El Kalum, with a superior overstanding, 720 degrees in all, 360 degrees of spiritual or ethereal state, the circle, and 360 degrees of the physical, material state, the square. Listen to reason. You should know, you should know and overstand by now that our ancestors, the Neteru or Anunnaki, those who are new sent to Gi or Earth, are your descendants, pitch novas, for those that are Ptahites and Pygmies, which began with the opening of the seventh seal in 1970 AD and was the revealing of all things hidden or unknown. Listen to reason. In a true culture society, there will be no hidden knowledge or mysterious knowledge. If knowledge is to benefit oneself, then it is a benefit to all of oneself kind, and therefore it should be available to all, and that knowledge is the correct information in any field of study, learning systems, and even spiritual systems and programs of absolute nature. For all programs and systems are a part of almighty nature, coming from either end of all space, all matter, and all time, called by us Nunibus the SMAT, or space, matter, and time, circle of absolute nature. Almighty nature is the omnipotent, omnipresent, omniessence, omniquintessent, omnipresence, the one supreme being which exists on our top half of the circle, called all space, all matter, and all time, is also called Nupu and Nupunun, or Atun, at its pinnacle. And the bottom half of the SMAT circle is called Zupu, Anun, which is the exact opposite of the positive forces of nature. The negative forces of nature are also called Zun, or Zu for short, meaning the animal kingdom. Zun is the animal king, king of the animals. Anun is the sacred one of the Ethiopian Ptahites and Shuites. Zupu, also symbolic for the zodiac, or the animal circle and cycle, from the original science called solar or sun biology, the sun cycle or circle, also called the sundial, or can be pronounced raw dial or shamash dial, by the ancient Temurayan and the Neteru. Nature is all in all, also called in this scroll El Natir Shil Natiru, called the nature of nature. Listen to reason. We are nature's nobility from the nine side of opposites of absolute nature. The letter by letter meaning of the word nine is noble, intelligent, nurturing, Ethiopian, which is the head race of and from the positive side, and forces called nous. The brain newts or mental reservoir called the many upper rooms in my father's house for us Oxamat or Ethiopian. We are the children of the etheric beings from the positive 180 degrees or Yasai of El Natir Shinatiru. All in all, giving us the ability to rise up in divinity. From mental, spiritual, and physical death, we shall be resurrected mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And now, as time gets closer to now, and our vision gets clearer, we become more soulfully resurrected from the bottomless grave, or the bottomless pit of the Zupu animal cycle of evolutionary times. Listen to reason. The supreme being only exists at 1 degree at a time. Nupu for order at one time, and Zupu chaos at another. And we are now at 0.3 south of the SMAT circle of cosmic order and chaos, symbolic of the sacred seat of the sun, a noon ray. Reiteration and repeats of this in and out formation to help aid in learning and remembering mid-formation. Listen to reason. One should meditate on this and these precepts and percepts of Channel 9 News daily, giving out the correct information using 9, mind, intellect, and Natir Shir Natiru. Let the all El Kul become your guide, or Hadi, and beacon of light and life, and by avoiding the lust of Lucifer and his fallen Luciferians, disagreeable Anunnaki or Yahweh cherubims, simply called Way, which is 180 degrees negative. For as Cadman received the warning, as warned by Michael or Malachi, you are now again being warned by the Arch Angel Gabriy'El. The character of the disagreeable Anunnaki is rebelliousness, which invokes only that which is disagreeable. And this disagreeable nature is what Cadman must not fall to. The disagreeable Anunnaki were created as a reflection of the agreeable he created. This reflection came forth with the force and velocity of a wind, a hot poisonous wind, Nar al Samun. This is parallel to when Anu El, most glorified and exalted, illuminated the light of Mikael, and then he divided that violet light into two parts. Light, Nur, is agreeable, and fire, Nar, is test from Anu, the most glorified and exalted, or what we call disagreeable. The hot poisonous wind is parallel to the fire, and the breath is parallel to the light. These things emanate from his holy soul, the Anunnaki, Mikael, the agreeable, and the test of that agreeable. From the agreeable soul, Sartafat, were created, the heavenly Garabat, or disagreeable Allahum. This does not mean that Anu, most glorified and exalted, gets angry at human beings. He overstands anger. But the things which the Anunnaki, most glorified and exalted, sends down in their anger are tests for you. There will be many tests for human beings, and you will cool his anger by passing these tests through practicing his statutes. So the hot poisonous wind is not agreeable unless fire is placed before it. If the light or Nur was placed before the word Samun or Nur al Samun, the light of the wind, then it would denote something agreeable. However, al Samun, fire of the hot poisonous wind, by itself means something disagreeable. Therefore, those born of light or Nur and those born of fire or Nar, the fire makes the wind poisonous. It can kill. It is called smoke inhalation. Please remember our etheric parents, 9 to the 9th power of 9, Yah, were created, where we inherited our kingly crown and our ways of life called Nuabu, and Nupu, called by Nun Omniversal Unified Scientists, Nous, and rhythm, and Nun and tones, called by mundane scientists, Nulogy, the science of science. Nous in the Webster's New World College Dictionary, in Greek, nous meaning mind, reason, or intellect, specified as metaphysical principles. The mental reservoir, called by spiritualists the Akashic Records, and to Christians it is known as the Book of Life, and the Book of Death, also known as the Records of the Disagreeable, called the Azaret, sitting in Sinjin, referred to in El's Holy Quran. We are novas, for the word nova meaning new star or new stars of noon, referenced as to the deity Nu, meaning intellectus, for the word intellect, which is Anu, lecturer or speaker of the word that existed in the beginning. And also means to perceive, understand, the ability to reason or understanding, or to perceive relationship differences, power of thought, the mind, great mental ability, or connect to a mind or mental reservoir, like Nupu. Order or ordre, which is rendering of the word order, and the definition and meaning of the word order, which is the first principle in every guild, religion, and organization, called Ma'at by us Tamarayans, a social position or ranking in the community, a state of peace and serenity, observation of the law, orderly conduct, the sequence or arrangement of things or events, series, succession, a fixed definite plan, system, law of arrangement, a group or class of persons set off from others by some trait or quality, an established method or system as of conduct or action in meetings. supplication, or courts, etc., rendering us Eniyot, a nine-dimensional order appointed by the All or El Kalum. To theologians, we are known as the Anointed Ones, meaning those wiped clean from filth of the West and its non-Semitic fools. And to the historical community, we are known as the Ancient Ones. And in a motion picture film by Warner Brothers called The Matrix, stolen from a Nubian writer named Sophia Stewart, we are referred to as the character Neo, called the One. Hence the name of our new Ethiopian order, called the Neo or Nio, known to us simply as the Sun People or People of the Sun, now called solenoids. The word sol or sal is Latin for the sun. Listen to reason. Don't be confused by the fiction and falsehoods created by the Amber Light beings or the Illuminati and extraterrestrial entities known as Luciferians, serpent children, members channeling down information to script writers in Hollywood, but we are really living in a matrix system set up by these lunatics or lunar beings, or disagreeable beings from the satellite moon called Luna. The master teacher, Noble Naya Malachi Z York L, 360 degrees, 720 degrees, came giving us what we wanted, so we would want what he had to give. And that's right knowledge, right wisdom for right overstanding. The science called Nulogy, or Noon, whose sacred way of life is Nupu in tones, also called Nati or Noti in our Masonic degrees. Our master teacher takes all devotees that remain loyal on a long journey on a short path with a do-it-yourself formula to resurrect the deity within oneself, or Nunibus, becoming a student of the Grand Hierophant Tahuti, who is Tuti in non-ether form, giving one the ability and power to control and use the green light, the most powerful healing force in the universes, the sun verses, known as malachite, a green carbon. Nabuhu Unu Nupu, or Lawiy Zodok Shamuel, is a doctor of theology, history, and comparative religious studies, as well as Semitic language, and now Nulogy, meaning the science of understanding, now called the science of sound right reasoning. Also a doctor to cure the untruths with pure facts. With these 19 affirmations, I listen to the voices of my creators sent by the Most High, and I look for the signs of the Most High. I want to help open the eyes of the world to right knowledge, truth, and facts. I will follow the Lamb in true faith. Our Messiah, the man of the times, Dr. Malachi Z. York, forerunner of the Messiah, his flesh and blood son, Atunre, Yahshua HaMashiach of 2,000 years ago. I greet all in peace and with a sincere heart. I pray with an open heart, and I seek the true light inward. I follow the laws of the Holy Tablets and Natir Shinatiru. I will not kill or even commit suicide, for it is a sin, wrong. I do not steal or lie, and am not cruel to children and animals. I do not disobey the laws of the government in which I live. I am non-violent. I do not drink or do intoxicated or eat unclean things. I don't hate any race, creed, religion, or sexual orientation. I don't tell you what to eat, who to like, how to think and feel. I ask you, let's work together for a better world. Let's correct our wrongs. Let's apologize to those we hurt because of religion. Let's work together to build a better place for our children. Let's avoid gossip and slander. Let's forgive and seek forgiveness. Let's enjoy life. It's short. Let's respect the laws of nature and the source of it all, the all. We can take that which is evil and turn it good. Along with our daily affirmations, supplications, and channelings, or taful prayer, which is now called the memorandum conversation with our oversoul, Atumre, and almighty nature, scientifically called Nupu, rendered to us as its pristine pure opposite called Nuapo of the true culture called Nun, Atunre, Nupunun, or Anu, all nature united. The Most High, Natir Shid Natiru, or nature of nature, will transmit all transmissions of this cosmic frequency, which is encoded with the green, purple, violet, and also the black light. These are divine revelations or revealings for your present day and time. As I begin to reintroduce you all here reading and listening to the reader, listen to reason. Nu, wa, bu means to convey a message which results in sound right reason. There must be a conveyor and listener. The conveyor is life and the listener is existence. Listen to reason. We luminaries, the true stars, are preparing for our journey into the galactic or upper heavens and beyond, so we have to be prepared. Learning to change from a physical being to an etherical being at will, as I knew. By changing the density of thinking and your thought patterns, and learn to use and master the master organ called by mundane scientists the brain, which is connected to a mental reservoir, either the nous or logos, a special gift, from the ancestors, which are our descendants, simply termed the mind. Applying the mechanics of the mind help ones to clear up the muck and 99% of the spookism and lies that invade our space, matter, and time. Renunciation of all names, titles. All right, I don't know, my mic went out. So I'm gonna go ahead and reset the room. See, Noble came through. Islam, Noble.
Islam.
You can hear me now, Johnny?
Died on me. Yeah, battery died on me here.
Okay.
Got a little bit of charge here.
Could you hear me earlier?
I think I was out for about 15 minutes. But I heard you when I plugged in my headphones, then you disappeared. So, it looks like there's also an Abdullah in the room here.
Yeah. I greeted the Noble earlier. If you want to, I don't know if you want to come up, Noble, but you can. So, got you. Islam. Happy holiday. Islam.
Happy holiday to you all, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
So, alaikum salam.
Salam.
So, I'm gonna go into our next section here, which is current events. Do a quick room reset, and then we can open up the floor. But that's pretty much it for this week. Like I say, we're gonna close out with the economics conversation, and then open up for the Clip Vision Scroll. I'm not sure what all got recorded. We'll see what got picked up, what didn't get picked up at the end once we close out tonight. So with that, welcome to the World Temple, Branch Temple number 24, or the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a global branch temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may learn to love instead of hate. Come and link yourself with the family of nations by clicking that block of words at the top that says World Temple and join us. That way you can link yourself with the family of nations and catch us here for Holy Day every Friday. And those that want to meet us here on Sunday, go ahead and accept the invite. We get enough, I'll open up the class for Sundays, which is actually mandatory too as well, which we'll go over here in a bit. But I want to go ahead and open us up for current events. for this week. Anything that's been sticking out to y'all, anything y'all want to talk about, the floor is gonna be open. Just want to let it be known that, like I say, we still working on the website, getting that done, same as last week, and we close to getting monetized on YouTube. So I'm gonna put the YouTube link up now. Now that we're done with this, so y'all can go ahead and get that YouTube link out to the peoples. And we're working on some books here, so that's what caused me to take a break for a month. But our recordings that needed to be up, they're up now, so you all could see that. And we are ready to close out this year with this third and fourth quarter. But get that link out, pass it out, so that way we can get fully monetized and we can go into next season with more purpose behind us. Those that come in, you want to come in early so that way I can clock you in, especially here meeting with us on Clubhouse, so I can clock you in in case you all want to be guest speakers and lecturers for tonight, for that night, I'm sorry, that holy day. Because right when I open up, I'm looking for those that want to participate and make contributions, and that adds to the content, and you all participate and help growing. So when we build this channel, it'll be more of an interactive thing. Everyone gets to participate, and it won't just be like a podcast type thing on YouTube. This is actually a question and answer form space that we have here, as well as giving you the opportunity to get a divine transmission out if you feel the need to do such, especially those that are online and want to connect with other temples. This is a global branch temple. We are a virtual temple, so we do our meetings here on Clubhouse. This is a platform to reach a lot of people at one time. Sometimes you have thousands of people in one room at certain times, and then sometimes you just have a couple people. But the invite is open. We here weekly, and it's a platform to meet with our people out in the public, and for them to have an easy way to connect. So no matter what they're doing, where they at, anywhere in the globe, we have people from all over the world come and chime in. But with that, let's discuss some current events. Whatever's on your mind, brothers, the floor is open. The floor is open. True peace.
Tributes. I have a couple questions actually. One is I've been curious about the world leaders headquarters, or the world leaders economic forum, and just kind of like I guess what's been going on with the integration with that and the temple. I know things have kind of been a little bit in the unknown, I guess, as more or less there's been a lot of not too much communication. I think on the board I was looking over there a couple weeks back, and one of the guys passed away. I guess he was one of the fathers of the movement. So I guess I know that there's different integrations of policymakers and people who created the world and is operating, maintaining the world that we're working with now. And I guess just kind of like, what's been the news on that? Like, is it kind of at a standstill? Is there still movement going on behind the scenes?
You're meaning far as with the World Leaders Forum, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, there's definitely movement with the World Leaders Forum. I'm only the director for the U.S., so technically, whatever we do here through the temple, that's also a part of the forum. And the headquarters is actually in Pakistan, so there's still an active movement going on. It's just things are kind of slowed down because a lot of the work does fall back, not just to me, but real short list of directors that direct the forum and really, take up the bulk of the work as far as the forum goes. But it's definitely still active, just like the World Temple is still active. Because some people think the World Temple is not active still. So just to clear that up, I'm glad you asked. True peace.
Attributes, yeah, that actually helps lead into the next question I had, which is the I guess the whole Russia and the Ukrainian situation going on there, and I know also I haven't done too much research, but I'd like to do more about Turkey and the foundations of Turkey within the central kind of location and political influence it has over there. Like, am I touching on something here? I think so.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm following.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of like the communication or news, or if there's anything like maybe to keep an eye or ear out. Is there anything that the Economic Forum is involved in, and or maybe could be more involved in, with us as participating with with the cloud of things?
Well, the only thing I would say we would be able to do is actually complete the missions that we have here through the temple, because those missions incorporate, or projects incorporate, the work that needs to be done with the World Leaders Forum. And the more organized we get here through the temple, through the community, the better organized we can get through the forum, because the forum has a lot of people from all over the world, problems from all over the world, issues from all over the world, including what's going on in Turkey, things that happen in Ethiopia over the years, and Nubia and other locations. You have people that reach out to us as an authoritative body that we are, but since we are a small staff, like I said, of directors, there's only so much that can be done by us until we actually get outreach. So that's going to require us building up the building up the ministry, and building up the ministry that allows us to really build up the farm, provide positions, work, a job in a labor force, not just for the ministry, but for the farm itself. So this is why I was saying, getting out the word with the YouTube and other mediums is a great thing to do. But I know a lot of people prioritize being monetized on YouTube, so that's one of the things that I know can be done. That way we can create that labor force and really get people boots on the ground in these locations, and really make that contribution that needs to be done, because that's also going to get us at those World Economic Forum meetings, and have the budget, a big enough budget, to be there, be on record, and take physical contribution in these things, because we definitely get the invite, we definitely get emails and things like that, communications coming back to us to be at be at these different types of meetings and make these contributions. But it's better if we can not only just give a vocal contribution, but also financial and economic. True peace.
Yeah, that Trippies, that's really clarifying. I've been looking to run business online and in the right light, and there's been a lot of different ideas going off in my head. The simplified version is you got your Windows, you got your Apple, and then you also have Linux that's out there that you can make a decision and choose from. It's a simple way to describe what I'm dealing with as a mental diaspora. Because each and every one of us has access to make a decision and and make use of, and they all have their different applications and capabilities. No different than how like the world is currently operating, with everyone having their different positions and jobs. That's changing. So I would like to be able to participate in the web of things. I'm looking to start my business and also integrate more with the temple. And I was just kind of curious about if that's still there and going on, and there's still something leading to a bigger, I guess, ocean of interconnectedness here. So that's awesome. Cool. Peace.
Yeah, we definitely, true peace. We definitely need more ministers, and I definitely need to get the Royal Council up and running. That's one of the things. What's up, man? All's well. So that's definitely one of the things that needs to be done. Is getting that Royal Council together, the ministry and the ministers. So it's, besides the initial Royal Council getting done and the things that's needed from the Mufti, things like that, there's still work for a neophyte type of minister coming in. So a fellow minister coming in. So those things that are needed, and that we require ourselves to do, is much work to go around. So the thing is focusing on getting, like I said, that needed revenue that we need as a ministry so we can grow and develop, and also get the word out, about who we are, and protect that, by doing it the same way we're doing it, by going slow, not chasing the influence, the power of influence, because that's what causes things to kind of go sour. That's why we maintain in the organizing phase so long. Um, so it's about completing that work that need to be done behind the brand, of course. So small things right now is definitely major, major key. Just taking on the title of a minister, showing up, participating here, getting the YouTube things, like getting the YouTube out, contributing, like I said earlier, a contribution of 15-minute portions when I open up for the ministers that want to speak for that week. Adding your contribution, that's also contributing to the content, to the creativity, to the work that needs to be done. Because you as a minister and those individual ministers might see other things that need to be addressed, especially from an ethereal or etheric standpoint, and bring down that etheric transmission and deliver it to the community. Because once we have enough people listening regularly, and we're forcing that we're forcing the ear, which is done by getting the links out, getting the word out, us making contributions, us connecting with potential donors for the temple. So that that requires different people, far as financial ministers. Like I said, we need our muftis, which deal with the law and legal stuff. Our royal governor, also dealing with politics and legalities and things like that. So the spaces for the Royal Council is definitely open, because a lot of the things I do, like I said, function short staff. And you get to witness that. You hear more than anybody, Noble Johnson. So you see who's here week to week. You get to see who's participating, because this particular meetup is the forethought for how we do everything else, and getting other events like opening up during the week, and creating other type of content from that's coming from the temple. That's something I've been thinking about doing and pushing to do. I just spoke with Dr. Idris about it a couple of days ago, but we got to actually put the effort into doing it, because there's other things that also need to be done in conjunction with the temple. True peace.
True piece, yeah. I mean, the big reason why I've been sticking around is a lot is because what you've been doing makes sense in alignment with what I've been doing and seeing, about the presence online with YouTube and all these different um, social media avenues. But a lot of people be getting stuck in these kind of combinations of wordings to where the next thing you know, everybody's saying, please subscribe and like my channel. And next thing you know, you're out and about in public spaces trying to enjoy, have a good time. And everybody's got that mindset. And it's like you're locking people into this prison, which, goes back to the whole thing with Jesus talking about how, when he was talking about hell, it was a mindset more than an actual place or a physical thing, but it was more of a mindset that was being taught onto the masses and propagating that out. And I think that's been kind of overlooked, but at the same time, there's a lot of yin to a yang to make things the way they are. So I'm not going to ramble on about that. I guess my main question, getting back on track, is right now I know a lot of people be using Google emails. I be using Google emails, and solidifying something long term moving forwards. Is that the is that something that's looking at more of a decentralized light? And then also going back to you have the chaplain website, and you have the donation capabilities with the QR code and everything like that. And my idea has always been about linking those kind of presences together, because people have different YouTube channels, people have their own place to stand based on the Gmails and the different social media corporations or organizations. What's the kind of the maybe like 7 years looking ahead view in the changes and for alignments with this? And I'm looking to be able to say, I've talked about pinning blogs together, pinning websites. It doesn't even have to be a Google blog. The only reason I've been talking about Google has been because of it, the free nature of it and a lot of bandwidth that it has on a technical level. But they got their policies about 2 years, I think, that they could delete an account, so it doesn't really have the longevity. So I mean, is there something that is being built that beyond Facebook that has that kind of longevity, or is Facebook pretty much going to be that, where it has that legacy or that kind of ability to save your information for years to come, and then people kind of go back and see the history of it, like a living library, essentially? Just kind of saying a lot. I know I just said a lot, but I'm just kind of
No,
trying
I'm
to
true
paint a
piece. I'm
picture
definitely keeping. No, I'm definitely keeping up. Well, that's actually the school, Noble. That's why I've been stressing for the school, because that is essentially our central hub for having our own wiki. Keeping up with your own blogs, your own data. You can actually do blogs in the school. Blogs is actually a part of the assignments in the school. I don't know if you remember me mentioning this beforehand, but that's actually a part of how you get graded in the school. So all of that is centralized, around the actual school setting. And utilizing YouTube right now is only for a launching pad, far as marketing wise. And there's other different like platforms that are like YouTube that actually does pay you from through monetization of your content. So those are things that we could also do as well. But creating content, like I had the book up earlier, the book that I had up earlier that I drafted, the book that I just read, uh the Clear Vision Scroll. That's content that could be pushed, and put out to the people, and that brings in revenue to the community. And that is the reason for having this economic series that we had over the past couple weeks, because we have to understand we have to have a functioning treasury, with the central banking concept thing, and also having an actual treasury. So I'm really glad you asked these questions, because that allowed to really put emphasis on the series that we just recently went through. Having our own treasury is main key, and having our own, financial institution system or banking system is key. And those two things go hand in hand. So we have to, fill up the treasury with revenue, and build revenue, build up equity that we can utilize to put towards those developments. Like right now, you have uh, you have a project that just recently went public, and they've been announcing it on Twitter that they're doing decentralized internet through Bitcoin, through the Bitcoin blockchain, and that's essentially what Ethereum was originally supposed to be. And it was created because it said Bitcoin doesn't have the capacity to do this and doesn't have the capacity to do that. And they were more so talking about the token instead of the actual blockchain technology behind Bitcoin. So all these things are still in the works. It's just a matter of building that revenue for us having our own treasury. Without a treasury, as the prophets say, we're nothing. So we have to take that core message, to heed. And it's not going anywhere. It's not changing, week to week from us doing what we're doing. But we have to understand that the focus is to grow the equity, up in uh, the work that we're doing. Like you just mentioned, Joshua, you know, like I said earlier, I don't know if you was here for it, but Joshua even, pointed out in the book of Revelations that we should be investing in gold. So that's one of the things we need to gather up, our treasuries for, our banks for, utilize ourselves for banking, utilize ourselves as our own treasury. We have our own smart contracts, which I talked about earlier. We know what platform, we can do these things through. And, we have our own registrations of securities, private exempt securities that we can go and raise capital through, and get donors that are qualified to donate, and donate for specific projects that we can come in together, togetherness with, or conjunction with, to get them to participate with us on, and become our donors, become supporters. But we have to be marketable. So that's a part of the whole point of, getting the YouTube out, having other bloggers such as yourself collaborate with their channels, because different channels can collaborate on YouTube. You can collaborate with the World Temple. You can, if you if you uh if you're interested, you can do your blogs. If you're going to do vocal blogs, or you just, some type of writing blog, uh there's platforms that we can create on our own and put our own blogs out there. But first we have to, understand business, budgeting, come together with, how much it's going to cost to promote such and such. If it only takes, $5 a month to get a website, uh $50 to promote the website per month, long as what we're promoting and what we're spending, in the budget, long as what we're targeting for the comeback, you know is sufficient and suffice, then we can handle those type of things. But those type of things have to be planned out, and this is the reason why we need to have, like I said, that economic discussion as a people, and do those type of things. These are, the perfect questions to have every week for current events, because current events not just concerns, the good news or the bad news. It also concerns the updates that are coming through the community, that are coming through the ministry. So if we got things that need to be discussed, things that need to be asked about, this is, this is the perfect, segment to do it in, and perfect time to answer those questions and get those things out there. True peace. All right, so with that, y'all, we gonna jump into our weekly readings of El's Holy Quran. So I'm gonna reset the room one more time. Welcome to branch temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a global branch temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may learn to love instead of hate. Come link yourself with the family of nations by clicking that block of words at the top that says World Temple. Join us, become a member, whether you're a guest member or an active member, which we'll have the link pinned up at the top of the room later on when we close out. For those that want to become active members in the chaplaincy, participate and help us get this community and ministry going and off the ground. So with that, we're gonna jump into the Holy Quran Circle 7, not Holy Quran Circle 7, but else Holy Quran weekly readings. And I'm really glad we had those questions from the Noble Jonathan. But that is the perfect time and segment for getting those type of questions out and the news that we want to convey. I did want to speak on the incident that happened in Alabama, but not too much about it, because it's just a little brawl, a little fight, nothing to really brag about. But it is showing, like I said earlier, it's showing a point of us coming together to stand up for our rights and stand up for each other. And that's what we need to be doing as a people. And any other incidents of that is definitely what we need. You know, but the same old Donald Trump running for president, going back and forth with Biden. You know, they finding drugs in the White House, all kind of crazy stuff going on right now, especially in Georgia.
I was laughing that there's already reenactments of that situation.
You say they already doing reenactments of it? You say they already doing reenactments of it? True P.
Yeah, it makes me think of the fractal universe and how things are getting closer together. You know, something happens and they reenact it the next day.
Yeah, it's getting crazy, man. But it's, you know, same old, same old. I don't know if you want to contribute anything, Abdullah, to the current event or any questions, but if not, we're gonna jump into the weekly reading from El's Holy Quran. Try to keep it a little short so we can do our holy instructions for this week. That way we can get home to our peoples, or put our attention back on our families, and enjoy the rest of our holy day with our loved ones. I'll try to give y'all some time to jump back on the mic, just so y'all know. But if not, I'm gonna go ahead and open us up for chapter 34 of El's Holy Quran. So that way we can get started with chapter 34, which was revealed in the year 618 AD, except for verse 38. Not sure when that verse was revealed, but this is called Kaf, meaning the Quran, the two readings of the Quran, which they changed from chapter 34 to chapter 50 in the mistranslations. So y'all know we begin our prayers and thinking by using the name of the source, Allah, the Rahman, who is the most merciful. And this is the commentary of this particular chapter, and it reads, the Quraysh are amazed that a Munzir has come from amongst them. They want to know whether they'll be returned to life. The Anunnaki has a guarded scripture in their possession. Those who lied are in a confused state. The Anunnaki constructed the skies without one gap in it. They extended the planet Earth and made mountains in it. The Elohim sent down water from the skies as a blessing, for a provision for the Ibad. All right, so the ayats read, Quran and the glorious Quran. In fact, they wondered that a Munzir, meaning warner, has come to them from among themselves, the Quraysh. So those who concealed that which they know to be the fact said, this is an amazing thing. If when we are dead and have become Torah, dust, will there be a return to life? That would be a far return. Such a return to life is fair. Such a return to life is far from reality. We not he, Elohim Anunnaki, indeed know that the planet Earth, Ki, diminishes of them. For we have a Katab, Hafiz, guarded scripture in our possession, meaning the Akashic records. In fact, they who lied about Al-Haq, meaning the facts, beyond any doubt, al-Qur'an, when it had came unto them. So they are in a confused state about orders. Don't they even look toward the heavenly skies, which is above them? How we, not he, Elohim, constructed it, and how we ordained it with beauty and goodness, and how there is not one gap in it, meaning the asteroid belt, and the planet Tiamat, Earth. We, not he, have extended it out, and we, Anunnaki, cast mountains into place in it, and we cause to grow within it all pairs of delightful things. We put seeds in things that they may breed, so that you will be able to see, and as a dhikr, reminder for every repentant, abd, slave, or lulu amelu. And we, Elohim Anunnaki, sent down water from the skies with blessings. So we, Anunnaki, Ashnan, also known as Thukiak, caused the enclosed garden of delight to grow and harvest grain in it. And the tall palm trees with fruit stalks closely set one above another, for a provision for the ibad, slaves, and we bring to life the dead land by way of it, meaning replenishing the earth, that it may be used to bring forth the provisions. So the next commentary states, the nations before them accused Utnapishtim of being a liar. Noah accused Noah of being a liar. The companions of Al-Ras and Al-Yasin and Thamud and Salih and the Midianites lied about the Rasul. The Anunnaki asked whether they were exhausted by the first creation. The Elohim Anunnaki created the Inosight and are closer to him than a jugular vein. Two Elohim Anunnaki will be sitting besides man, a watcher standing beside him ready to record. The drunkenness of debt is that which they were trying to shun away from. The trumpet, or shofar, shall be blown by Raphael. And the next ayats read, before them, the Meccans was the kindred, Canaanites, accusing Noah or Utnapishtim of being a liar, and the companions of Al-Ras, who are the Midianites, and Yasin, and those of Thamud, the tribe of Jina ibn Umar, Thamud and Silla, and Ad, and the Pharaoh of Farun, Ramesses II, and the brethren of Lut, and the companions of the Eka, meaning wood, the Midianites, and the kindred of the Tuba. All of them lied about the Rasul. So the fact of my, not we, threats took effect, became a fact. Where we, not I, exhausted by the first khalq, creation, the creation of the Elohim, Anunnaki, and Malakut. In fact, they are confused about a new khalq, the creation of Inosites. And indeed, we, not he, created Al-Insan, the Inosite. And we know that which his spirit to Wawisu whispers by way of it. And we, not I, are nearer to him, Inosites, than his own jugular vein, when he was received by the two receivers, two recordings. Elohim Anunnaki on his right, Elohim on his side, sitting on the right and left. He, Inosite, didn't utter a single saying, except there was standing in his possession, besides him, an observer, ever ready to record. And then came the drunkenness of debt with the facts beyond any doubt. That is what you were trying to shun away from. And the surah, the trumpet, shofar, shall be blown. The Elohim Raphael will sound the trumpet, shofar, on the last day. That is the promised day. The next commentary states, of the Anunnaki that shall come, one is the carrier of the spirit and the other is the watcher. The Elohim have removed the covering. All the stubborn ones will be thrown into Jahannam. He who prevents good deeds is also a doubter. Those who made other Ilahan, deities, with the source, will be thrown into a severe pain. His close friend will say it was his own desire to go astray. Allah will say, don't quarrel before me. Allah is never unjust to the slaves. The Elohim over hell, Melech, will ask, is there any more? And the ayats read, and a Sa'ik, driver, and a watcher shall come with every nafs, person, the two Elohim Anunnaki. One is the carrier of the spirit, that the soul may be judged, and the other is the watcher. Certainly you were very negligent of this. So we, the Elohim Anunnaki, have removed your covering, separated the soul from out of the body. So your basar, sight, on this day is very sharp. And his close friend will say, this is what I have presently of his record. Throw all of the stubborn ones who conceal that which they know to be the facts into Jahannam, purgatory. He who prevents good deeds is also a transgressor and a doubter. Those who made other ilahan, Allahs, sources with the source, Allah, so throw him into a severe pain. His close friend said, oh, our Rab, who is sustainer, we did not cause him to transgress, but it was none other than his own desire to go far astray. He now we will say, do not quarrel before me, and indeed I gave you threats beforehand. None of the sayings can be changed in my not our present, and I not we, am never unjust to the slaves. On that day, we not he, Elohim Anunnaki, shall say, unto Jahannam, hell, how will it be filled up? And he not we, the Melech, ruler, Elohim will say over hell, is there any more? All right, so the next commentary reads, the Jannat is brought near to those who tremble at the mentioning of the source. This is what you was promised. This is what you were promised for those who turn frequently and guard. Those who dread the merciful and come secretly with a repentant heart. They shall enter it in peace. In it, all that which they please. Those who were destroyed, did they have a mahi? That is a reminder for those who have a heart and gives an ear. Weariness has never touched the Elohim Anunnaki. Muhammad, you are to be patient and glorify the gratitude of your Rab, and during the shadow hour period. And the ayats read, and the Jannat, enclosed garden of the light, is brought near for those who tremble at the mention. It is not far. This is that which you were promised for everyone who turns frequently and guards, who dreads the merciful, who is the Rahman, Bit al-Ghaib, by the unseen, in secret, and comes before him with a repentant heart. Enter it in peace, for this is the day of eternity. In it is all that which they please, and yet there is more in our presence. And how many families before them from generations who were more forceful than they in power have we not he, Elohim Anunnaki, destroyed? So they went about in the land. Did they have a place? Did they have a place of Mahi's escape? Surely in that is a dhikr, reminder for him who has a heart or gives us an ear or listens, and he is a shaheed, watcher. And indeed we not he, Elohim Anunnaki, created the skies, firmament, and the planet Qui, earth, and all that which is in between them two, meaning the asteroid belt, and 6 daily periods. And weariness has never touched us, not I. Gabriy'El is speaking. This is Gabriy'El speaking. So Muhammad, be patient in that which they say, and glorify by the gratitude of your sustainer, who is Ra, or Adonia, before the sun appears to rise and before it appears to set, which is an illusion. And of the shadow hour period, glorify him. And when the shadow hour period, is behind you, still prostrate. The next commentary states, listen to the call of the Anunnaki Raphael. The trumpet is the sound of the end of the world. Everyone will be raised to their graves. The Elohim are the givers of life and the cause of death. On that day, the gathering of Enosites is simple for the Elohim Anunnaki. Muhammad, you are not a Jabbar over them. And the ayats read, the last ayats read of this chapter, states, and listen on a day when the caller calls from a very near place. The caller is the Anunnaki Raphael. The day when they will hear Al-Sahat, the cry, the trumpet of the sound of the end of the world, by way of the fact beyond a doubt. It was predicted that this day would come. This is a day set for you all coming forth, the day when everybody will raise from his grave. Surely we Nahi Elohim Anunnaki, are the giver of life and the cause of death, and unto us, not I, is the eventual destination. On that day, when the planet Qui, earth, shall split right up under them, the great earthquake, they will make haste. They will be running to and fro in Tiamat, Qui, or earth, and gathering together for us, not he, is an easy thing to do. To assemble everybody on the last day is simple for the Elohim Anunnaki. We Anunnaki know that which they say, and you, Ahmad, are not over them as an enforcer, a Jabbar, mighty one, Farhakir. So remind all by way of the Qur'an who fears my threat. Sudaka Alahu El Azim. So on that great day which we are coming upon because we are in the sixth thunder, which has been the trumpet that we have been blowing here with the continuation of the teachings of the fifth thunder that happened close to almost 100 years ago, and about 20, 30, 40 years from now. It will be leading up to that because we are itching our way to 2030, and just about 30 years from now will be 2060, which will be 100 years from the time when the fifth trumpet was blown and we went into the fifth thunder. Now we're into the sixth thunder, and the seventh seal has already been opened. So we will be moving rapidly forward toward the spirit of Raphael incarnating through one of us Nubians and blowing the trumpet, one of us of the Nebuah, one of us of the prophecy, of the prophethood, of the Nabi, and blowing the message and giving the sound right reasoning of this divine knowledge and continuing and carrying the message forward. But this is why I say we have to get on the ball game, and be prepared. Be prepared to have that economic conversation, because this is not just about those that'll be gathered through what they call the rapture. This is about the end of the world as people know it, but it's not the end of our world. It is the beginning. It is the beginning. It's about the end of a major cycle, which will be end of the world as people know it. And we're due for that major cycle ending cataclysm here shortly. 2 million years ago, we had a major ending cycle cataclysm. Then a couple million years before that, and a couple million years before that, and the cycle continues. So we're gonna close out with El's Holy Quran. We're gonna pick up with chapter 35, called Al-Balad, meaning the land, which the original order is 35, and they changed it to 90, and it was revealed in 618 AD, and it looks real short, so we might fit in chapter 36, called Al-Tariq, the Knocker, El-Tariq, the Knocker, which is going to be some good chapters we coming upon here as we continue to go through these scriptures. All right, y'all. So with that, we're gonna jump into our holy instructions for this week. get into how you come and link yourself with the family of nations and get involved and understanding status correction, the proper way to status correction. All the other stuff people tell you about doing this paperwork, doing that paperwork, that has nothing to do with your status correction. Status correction is understanding how to operate and conduct yourself and understand the culture. If you're not Negro, Black, and colored on paper, that's the only thing you addressing. But you are still misnomered in this country in this day and time as African American. But if you're trying to do some things on a financial level, then of course you got to get into a circle that's going to be able to teach you some of these trade secrets. And I commend a lot of the movements, the Patriot movement, even some of the sovereign citizen people, but for the trade secrets that they be having. But the amateurism that is hurting our people gots to go. It's hurting our people. It's hurting us as a people. And we have to understand it. And it's keeping us further away from coming together as a nation and understanding principal things that is needed as a nation, how to communicate with each other. So we touched on our civic virtues, which is the cultivation of our habits, our customs, which are important and needed for the success of our communities. We touched on our civic engagement, which is coming together to take a collective action to address issues of public concern, such as economics, which is one of the main things. All right, y'all. So, as you know, Friday is the holy day. Or you who know, when the call is proclaimed to supplication on Friday, the day of assembly, hasten earnestly to the remembrance of the Heavenly Father and Divine Mother, and leave off business and traffic. That is best for you if you but knew. And when prayer is finished, then may ye disperse through the land, and seek the bounty of God, and celebrate the praises of God of 10, and without stint, that ye may prosper. All right. That is a prayer from the Holy Qur'an. So, as we know, all chaplaincy, temple services, and meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is a holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is our holy day for all Muslims and peacemakers all over the world. This is according to Act 2 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws by the Prophet Noble Ali, which states all temples and subordinate temples are to conduct holy day service every Friday, starting promptly at their respective time and ending promptly at their respective time. All civilians, patrons, denizens, prospects, and ministers are expected to attend the temple for Friday holy day temple service and meeting. On Fridays, the Moorish American, Moorish Asian, and Moorish African Muslims and peacemakers all come together to supplicate and to illustrate that which Allah has blessed them with. The temple services are open according to divine love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. At no time will templates, adepts, ministers, patrons, or outside congregational guests be allowed to disrupt the holy day service, nor will civilians be admitted under the influence of alcohol or any severe intoxicant. All templates, adepts, civilians attending the holy day service must have their heads covered with either a turban, fez, or kufi, or spiritual covering. Baseball caps should not be worn in the temple or during temple service. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is mandatory, and all Moorish national templates and temple denizens must promptly attend the temple service and send their children to the Sunday school gathering. The teacher must conform himself and herself to the temple one-on-one questionnaire and let every civilian man, woman, and child exercise his or her 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guidance of the nation, and now the entire global village. According to Act 5 of the additional laws by the Prophet Noble Ali, every subordinate temple should have 2 Sunday school gatherings held. The first meeting should be held 1 to 2 hours before the adult service. Children's Sunday school should be conducted by a director of the Children's Sunday School and programs. The Sunday school gathering is designed to assist the temple in learning the temple one-on-one questionnaire and developing an understanding of just what these holy keys mean and how they are to be applied to our everyday lives. The Divine Constitution and Bylaws, along with the Moorish Prayer, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'an, and the civic editions or lessons of the Holy Temple of Moorish Science are also subjects of major concern for the apprentice who is trying to complete his or her mandatory requirements for pronouncing their temple civilianship and global nationality. All lessons for the adult Sunday school gathering must be prepared by a Grand Sheik, a divine minister, or an assistant Grand Sheik. Lessons called by us novites additions may be submitted to the apprentice for completion and returned to the temple. Once the lessons are completed and graded, they must be placed in the active members temple district file. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is a wonderful opportunity to study the liturgy teachings of the prophet. No civilian is to become disruptive during the Sunday's meeting. All Templars must bring paper and pen to the temple service and meeting along with the basic temple literature and assignments. No Templars or patrons to eat food or other snacks during the temple service or meeting, but water is permitted. All Templars must attend their Sunday temple service and meeting as diligently as they attend their holy day temple service and meeting. Both were called out for by the prophet Noble and is required as a matter of temple law. According to the Divine Constitution Act 7 in part, all Templars must promptly attend their temple services and meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America, now also the Moorish Science Temple of Africa, and the Moorish Science Temple of Asia, and enjoining War Islands on behalf of all indigenous peoples. For membership, any heads of temple of all temple jurisdictions are not to charge for naturalization or to overcharge for cards, buttons, or anything issued by and through the prophet. Those who contribute to any of the proceedings are not Moors, civilians, or patrons, but robbers. Temple nationality and membership in the Holy Temple's vast estate, what we call a public beneficiary trust, sisters and brothers, kin and kinfolk, is free. Not only here, but all over the world. All kin and kinfolk desiring to become a civilian of a subordinate temple must follow these instructions from the temple secretary and acquire their application for naturalization found here or on holytemples.org, which is our temple website. The secretary of the temple's jurisdiction will help all newcomers by explaining in the naturalization affidavit and application for membership in the temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust to the new prospective civilian of the temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust, and arranging for him or her to be consulted by the royal council of said temple or subordinate temple. The royal chairman or woman will set the date for the new temple prospect to be interviewed by the royal council. The new temple court civilian, upon completion of the royal council's consultation at the newcomers gathering or Sunday school gathering on Sunday, the new templars will proclaim their temple nationality at the next upcoming Holy Day temple gathering. After the new civilian prospect proclaims his or her nationality, they will be given the mandatory requirements necessary to earn their free national name and royal title of nobility as a true American royal. These requirements are as follows, and in accordance with Chapter 47 of the Moorish Circle 7 Holy Qur'aan, called Egypt the capital dominion of the Empire of Africa. Chapter 25 of the Moorish Qur'aan, called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. The Moorish Prayer, including the one-on-one Qur'an questions for Moorish Americans, Asians, and Africans. The Divine Constitution and bylaws, the additional laws, and the precepts, statutes, and ordinances from El's Holy Torah, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'an, and the Holy Tabernacle Family Guide, and also the Holy Tablets, through our Civic 101 course in the Global Interdependent School District and Sacred Halls of Learning, which is called New University by us of the Holy Temples of Moorish Science, for everyone of the global village. Once a new civilian or template has learned these additions or lessons verbatim, or to the best of their ability, he or she will be interviewed by the Temple's Royal Council as the chaplaincy to determine if the new civilian is qualified to represent himself or herself as a faithful Moorish American, Moorish African, and Moorish Asian Muslim, or any indigenous peacemaker, and communicated to the ignorant for their instructions, and communicated to the wise for thine own improvement. Once the new civilian or template has cleared the mandatory requirements with the Royal Council, he or she will be naturalized by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister of said subordinate temple. True peace. And this is how you get involved with a temple and proclaim your nationality. Not all this paperwork stuff, we putting this on record, you putting that on record. That has nothing to do with you understanding commerce and business. If that's what you're looking for, you need to be a part of some type of commerce and business coaching group or mentorship. Nothing to be doing with the Moorish Science Temple of America being a theocratic government. It has nothing to do with that, and proclaiming your nationality as a royal, as a national. Nothing to do with that. You're tying into your indigenous royalty. That's just simple and plain, without you being subjected to the BIA. This is something that's separate from you being subjected to the BIA as an Indian. You're indigenous as a Moor, and you tie into international law as an indigenous person or even Aboriginal person who has indigenous standing that is acknowledged by a publicly and lawfully acknowledged government indigenous government, theocratic form of government. So we're going to get into the proclamation procedure, which we call the Holy Shahada, which is the procedure that you go through to actually proclaim your nationality and get yourself on record with a temple that is on record, and preferably on record in Chicago, because you have HR 0689 that you can use to stand on. And I've been there. I've seen how being an official temple that's on record, you get treated as royalty, as you are. So the proclamation of nationality procedure and announcement of one's nationality, which will be held on Holy Day for all civilians, denizens, Templars, peacemakers, or Muslims all over the world. During the ceremony, the new civilian or Templars will be ordained an El, Bey, or Dey and given his or her royal peerage title of kin, honorable, lady, noble, nin, naya, prince, or princess by a grand sheik and or divine minister, and also receive his or her nationality card and button from the divine minister of the Grand Major Temple. Upon conclusion of the nationality proclamation, the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister will have the civilian, Templars, and Temple prospect stand while he or she reads the authority of the Moorish Temple of America. It is by virtue of the Religious Corporation Act document that can be found in Heard's revised statutes that gives the Moorish Temple of America, Asia, and Africa the authority to restore the nationality and birthrights of the lost Asiatics of America, Asia, Africa, and all world islands, and give them the title to their vast estate and their heritage. The Grand Sheik and or Divine Minister is to read from the card and have the new national state. Allah is God, and Noble Drawli the Prophet. And I am Moorish American, African, and or Asian, and or World Islander. This is our Moorish clarification of faith, or Shahada, and our national pledge of allegiance. The new civilian or Templars free national name should then be added to the Temple's Book of Life as they enroll in the Civics 101 course and our complimentary World Civics Club, which is this particular branch temple number 24. The nationality ceremony should be conducted by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister or any other Divine Minister so designated by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister at his or her time of absence, and most notably by the Assistant Grand Sheik and Divine Minister. The nationality card and naturalization application must be signed bearing the name and title of the Grand Sheik or Divine Minister who issued the application and card, and the date of its issuance. The Religious Corporation Act has deemed the Global Interdependent School District and the Incorporated and Chartered Moorish Temple of America, Africa, and Asia as a religious trust and theocratic government established in 1928 on August 20th. This religious trust is the true global trusteeship system for the Holy Family of Nations, forming the global nucleus. So it don't matter what your culture is or ancient and divine creed is, that all ties into the indigenous way of peace. Islamicism. Not Orthodox Islam. So it don't matter what your ancient way is, especially when we had the great law of peace here in America. Every law in every country, down to ancient communities and tribes and territories, is all based on peace. So with that, we're gonna get into our mandatory literature for the night. Let y'all go home and enjoy the rest of y'all evening. And I'll be putting this recording up on YouTube, so that way those that'll be listening from YouTube can chime in and get caught up. Go ahead and pass the YouTube around so we can get our watch hours up and get our subscribers up. That way we can get the message out and let it be known that, hey, there's someone with enough sense to explain the olive branch, how it connects. Truly how it connects, not just give you metaphysical jargon on these things and my own assumptions. We have went through real documented histories and made real documented connections, even brought out up-to-date information and gave up-to-date explanations on how these things exist, and even brought to you and bringing to you the current laws that concern you as a people, and the proclamations, the resolutions from all over as state citizens, and how you tie in as indigenous royalty as a people, and how you're able to have your own theocratic government, which concerns not for the territory of America. You're not subject to the BIA. You are a royal people. You get to operate in a authoritarian form of government, in the form of a theocracy. And as we like to say here, a nucratic theocracy, because our authority is coming from divine nature. So with that, we're going to open up the mandatory literature. We're going to take it on home. Hope y'all enjoyed y'all day. Y'all can be anywhere in the world with what you're doing and how you do it and with yourselves. But y'all are here with Grand Sheik, Dr. Lawiy, and we're going to make the best and the most of it. So first thing first, I want to go ahead and read the message from the prophet to the members of the temple. The prophet has some messages that he wants us to read over to the members of the temple. First, Islam, the prophet say, be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you'll be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, Omniversal Church, and that is why many hearts have been turned to stone, and many have eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear, lest they would be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they're trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lords, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. True peace, your divine prophet, Noble Ali. So focus on doing the work. That's another answer to your question from earlier, Noble Jonathan. Focus on doing your work. If we focus on the work at hand and amalgamating ourselves within, then we know what we have at stake. We know we have something that's solid to stand on, and it's not going nowhere. The work of the Prophet Noble Ali is not going nowhere. It's only getting more solid as we continue forward day to day. So for those that need a temple home, I want to go ahead and extend the olive branch to you all, especially all that's listening from the YouTube world. Y'all can join us here, especially if you want to contribute and add anything in. You can join us here on Clubhouse, where you can actually see where the recording happens live and live. And as I discussed with Jonathan earlier, we're going to be getting into some discussions that we're going to be opening up during the week. That way we can create more content for you guys on YouTube and, have these panels from our oversight versus, the biasness that really takes place when other people panels are happening and we get invited and it's based on some type of smear campaign or something like that for people of the Moors, Hebrew Israelites, and Wahabians, and the doctrine doesn't really get explained too clearly for us as a people, and just people from other doctrines too as well. Whether it's you come from a Yoruba background, or Ife, Santeria, Lukumi, whatever it might be, you might have different background, Taoism, and how that incorporates into the divine and national movement, how that incorporates into Islamicism, the way of peace, living a life of peace. So we want to extend the olive branch to you all with this message from the prophet that he speaks to the nations. And notice it says nations. The prophet spoke to the nations. The prophet says, if you have race pride and love your race, join the Moorish Science Temple of America and become a part of this divine movement. Then you will have power to redeem your race, because you would know who you are and your forefathers were. Because where there is unity, there is strength. Together we stand, divided we fall. Come, good people, because I, the prophet, sent to redeem this nation from mental slavery, which you have now, need every one of you who think that your condition can be better. This is an open field to strong men and women to uplift the nation and take your place in the affairs of men. If the Europeans and other nations are helping me, why not you? It is your problem. The Negro problem is being solved only as it can, and that is by the Moorish National Divine Movement. If you have a nation, you must have a free national name in order to be recognized by this nation as an American citizen. This is what was meant when it said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you," by the prophet. And so, especially if you connected with a batila, that means Oba, the father of the highest. That means you're connected to a form of what they call Islamicism, not modern day or modern Islam. You're not caught up in that. That's not what we're here for. So please understand that when we get more into our new logical way of thinking and the messages that we'll be putting out, that we are in that cycle of religion, and that requires for new logical thinking to be revived through all religions, through them all true religions, not fanatic groups, but actual religions. And you, as Ethereum people, if you're worshiping your nephews, your children's deities that they created, then you become subject to those deities. So it's time for you all, as the parents of civilization, to come into your own vine and fig tree, to the divine creator, and to your own cultures, to your own religions. Noon, the true light, will be revived out of religion and this religious cycle of the dead cycle of nature that we're in. All right, so with that, we're going to jump into the warning from the prophet to the peacemakers that's to be read in every temple service. The prophet say, "I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We're for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your card at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Fail to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the laws as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in the card button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Zabuwr, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. True peace, Noble Drew Ali. All right, y'all, so we're going to get into this last message from the prophet. I'm going to change the link at the top of the room. And the link is already available on the YouTube, so y'all can click that Patreon link and join us as active members of the chaplaincy of the temple of the Royal Council and help us get things going. So as we build this space back up, especially we start getting hundreds of people in here at a time, hundreds of Moorish people here to gather, like we gather in all these other discussions and rooms, and we pile up there. We can pile up here on Friday, especially for those that need a temple home. Why, especially if you out on the go and you just out and about doing what you do, and you want to still tap in and chime in and join in and link into Mental Reservoir, you have the opportunity to do such. So since we're a little bit over time, I'm gonna go ahead and finish up here, then we can get to the prayer, get our last contributions, and close out. All right, so the prophet wants us to read this in every temple service. This is to be proclaimed in every temple service. Islam. The prophet say, I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement, now by the same people of our side of the nation, that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me in the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. All right, y'all. So, y'all got any last contributions? Go ahead and tap in. I'm about to get us prepared for the prayer. If not, we can just jump right into the prayer. We can close out for tonight. And I hope y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. We're a little bit over time, but we right on time.
I think I might have a question.
True peace.
Kind of true piece. Tonight was good. Yeah, I guess talking back about the website, and you mentioned that you said that there's blogs inside of the new university. I didn't realize that. Is that like separate from like having to use a third party, or is that like part of the actual system itself? And like kind of touching in on, you're making the YouTube videos for the channel, and then integrating that and getting more people involved. And that's been my whole intent for years now, is just kind of giving someone a place to stand and a lever. And then I know I've been having to learn new things based on the information that has been brought forth that I didn't have any knowledge of, the noosphere or anything like that. So I'm doing my best to kind of feel like I'm catching up to information that was, for good reason, kind of obscure beneath the surface of things. But, like you just said, it's like you've got these different organizations that want you to be like water in a pitcher that they can pour out. Talking about these different groups trying to host an event for pretty much what is the water inside air. It's like, there's water inside that pitcher already. So you can't see it, but it's there, there's water and air. So it's kind of like, how can you have anyone host something when they're trying to put it in a pitcher and it's already in there? They just don't realize it. Anyways, true peace.
True peace. I appreciate that. Yeah, the blog is a part of our system. It's not a third party. And, that's the point of conjoining the YouTubes, connecting the YouTube channels of the different ministers and just building that growth, that network. It's not focused on, me per se as a grand sheik. This is why Noble Drew Ali is being put out front. This is why the master teacher is being put out front, and any other leader that needs to be brought forth, such as Elijah the messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, etc. They get put out front. The knowledge that they brought forth get put out front. And it's more so about the continuing work that we need to do. So I'm glad you mentioned that, especially about, the glass and the pitcher part, because the example has to be set. So, and that's what the master teacher did, especially with, getting the land in Georgia, and continuing to do that. So with the structure of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that allows us to do things without all the stripes that we went through in the past, especially what we have in place now, and we don't mix ourselves in with those that are considered sovereign citizens and things like that in that movement, and actually function as a theocratic governmental structure and do things the proper way, we most definitely will not be seeing the strife that we seen in the past, and we can move forward with creating those townships and things like that that need to be done, not just here in America but globally through our Noon project. True piece. I hope that answers the question for you.
Yeah, it does. I'm kind of, I think, trying to expound on trying to see where I fit in as an artist and then also as a minister, and to not get it to where the two conflict with each other, but presenting myself, one as a brand, and talking about the business, and that this is not necessarily the space for the business side of things. You can get a mentor or coach and whatnot, and then recognizing the ministerial aspect of things and growing into that, and what is the buffering point between the two, and is that something that I can use the avenue of an artistic presence, and then behind the scenes or backlink things towards the ministerial presence, and if they or should they be separate? I mean, is it and then talking about the whole
Yeah,
pinning blogs and
I mean,
paying it forwards,
you are
and
both, so you are both, so you got to be the whole you know so use
so I
your
should.
artistic side. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess what I'm getting the last, getting to the point of the question is I mean, would I be good to pin your chaplain website to my Google blog, or should I be doing something completely separate? Based on my intent of paying it forward, or is the paying it forward? Because I know, okay, let's say someone pays it forward to me, and I get let's say just $1,000, whatever. Someone donates $1,000 through online means. I've been big about this because of online presence. If you have your online presence, is different than physical reality, and people don't realize that, it's one thing to say, hey, please like and subscribe to my channel. It's another thing when you got everyone doing it, and then it becomes this competitive based, the viral aspect of things, and viral is a word in and of itself. And, the whether it's the ego or the vanity, is there that balancing point? And that's kind of I think why I've had trouble jumping out into this space, because it's not necessarily been about the fame or fans or followers, but there is a sense of feeling like I need to put my brand out there and get it to where, there's almost like a gate opening up, but I haven't wanted that gate to be anything that I've owned, and that's why I see the temple as having its purpose and point, and Noble Drawley having the purpose and point leading up into the modern age with the technology. So maybe I'm just planting seeds, or maybe you have a kind of an answer here for me on that.
Yeah, I got you. If you put me on your blog site and the chaplaincy on your blog site, you would want to put that on there as a part of your resume, that you work as a minister of the chaplaincy. But as far as your personal artistic brand, um anything that goes on there from the temple as far as resume purposes, but as your initial brand, far as partnership wise, we can partner up, with different things through the family office, just between me and you. And then anybody else in the temple that has their own, companies and things like that, you can personally partner up there, with them through your brand in that capacity. Now, as far as the artistic work that you do for the temple, that'll be done through the temple itself, and you would be the contributor to that, that artwork, whatever mediumship it is, whether it's audio, video, or whatever else. But in your personal brand capacity, you're gonna brand yourself, separate from the temple in your artistic brand capacity. Same way as the family office or anything else that's its own separate entity from the temple is branded, on its own, and can work in conjunction with the temple, but is branded personally, through its own mediumship.
True piece. Islam.
Islam.
I guess would it be okay then for me to at least, because like I don't know if you're seeing what I'm looking at here, because like it's a big thing for letting me know about the blogs having its separate entity. I don't have to create a. I could use the new university system for that, and that it's all in house. And like I'd like to be able to create a blog with that, and then have it to where, whether it's a pin board or a showcase, how my main thing is not just about the finances, but it's also about attention and kind of morale boosting. And that's why the whole paying it forward 7 days, recognizing the kingdom of heaven is within each other, is important to me this day and age. And seeing that the directives or the kind of organization of all these different churches had its purpose in creating movement within the construction industries and all these different businesses to get here. But like I see our world in a major transition with the robotics of things and the algorithms and even AI coming into play. And like as an artist, I'd like to, I'd rather not communicate. I don't want to use words. I think English is even more of a challenging language than most because of its nature. Being a musician, I'd rather just speak with words and know that in the long run, I'm getting more grounded with something that has, has the purpose that has been expressed here. So I mean, it's like I feel like it's God. God works in mysterious ways, and it's definitely a miracle to be communicating here about these deep things. Whether it's one or two, or two or more come together in my name, it'll be there. So true peace.
True peace. True peace. I definitely resonate.
The
But
chapter,
yeah,
yeah.
go ahead. What
Yeah,
you gonna say? True peace.
back to the point is like, am I good to be able to at least, pin your blog as a showcase towards the World Temple as being something that people can kind of get an eye onto, knowing that I have that intent, or should I keep that completely separate within the new University Temple, or just kind of rethink that because of the capabilities of what the World Temple is able to do
Well,
at the
no,
moment?
that's what that's for. The blogs and whatever you do with the blogs in the school, that's for that. I mean, you gotta think about it just like any other writer or any other publisher. One of the main marketing resources that they use is papers and articles that they wrote at some scholastical level. So you can use that for that, for that purpose. Especially, to get the message out about who we are, in your own personal blogs. If that's the blog link that you want to use, you can use it. And it's more presentable in a professional manner because it's connected you to an actual scholastical site. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think so. I might have to poke around a little bit more and ruminate, and I think it'll clear itself up. But yeah, thank you. This definitely helped.
Yeah, because on the school, you actually have your own profile too as well on there that you can edit it and fix it however you want, and you can put blogs, a list of blogs, list of websites on there. It's basically like our own social media type structure. I'll give you an example by posting mine here so you can see. That way you get an example of what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know from even from our last communications that I look at things very much in like energy and moving in waves, and that these systems have the ability to kind of interweave with each other. I was like, I have no problem, taking U.S. currency and converting it into Bitcoin and converting that into Nomni or anything like that. As long as the long term goal and functions has its purpose and reasoning, and it's not just I love video games, but I don't want to get lost in the virtual realm.
I'm definitely with you on that. You definitely with you on that.
I just wanted to say really quick, not to interject. Happy Moorish American Holy Month to you all, my brothers, to all the noblemen out there holding everything down.
Islam. Thank you, no. All right, so let me get y'all this link. So take a look at this, Noble Jonathan, and we're gonna close out with the prayer. I really appreciate y'all coming through. You know we're gonna be here next week, and we're gonna do this again next week. We're gonna go over chapter 2. So this series is gonna be almost a 9-part series, depending somewhat as far as the chapters go, but it's not really gonna be 9 different holy days, because the chapters are not that long. Some of the chapters in the clear vision scroll we can go through in a day. It ain't gonna take that long. So we'll be wrapping up the clear vision scroll, but some of the chapters are a little bit lengthy. So with that, let me know that you got the link, Noble Jonathan, and you seen it, what it looked like.
Yeah, I got it. I took a picture too. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's basically like the school allows us to have our own profile page, kind of somewhat like somewhat like a Facebook, and you can put your links there. People could message you on there if they're members of the school, and you can have your links on there or whatever, however you want to do that. And then yeah, you can have the blogs as well. So that way, if you do a blog, you can have that link to where people can see that blog. They won't be able to log in, but they'll be able to see the blog. They should be able to. So that's what it's for. While we doing the work that we're doing, and once the whistle get blown, people will be seeing that this is available to them to utilize for that purpose. But like I said, we're gonna close it out with the prayer. I really appreciate that. You don't have any more questions, Noble Jonathan, huh? That was it. Did we answer everything?
Yeah, I think so. That was good. I had to plug my phone here because it's 1%. Yeah,
I got
awesome.
you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, so let's close out with the prayer. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all evening. Hua, Hadus Ashub, divine love. Y'all know how I go. Facing the east, feet at 45-degree angle. 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through His holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Amen. All right, y'all. Wadu. See y'all next week or this Sunday. Get the word out. Let's get this YouTube count up, and let's keep rocking and rolling. True peace. Wadu.
All right. Much love, true peace, freedom, and justice to you all. See y'all later. Inshallah.
Shalom.
Shalom, Islam.